You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Holmes. Picked off by Barrett, well read. And the center back will blast it long and ask Kissel to get in a foot race with Bamford. Kissel may win it, he does! Can he win the national championship? 1v1 against Yannick! Oh my gosh, they do it! Don't call them Cinderella, you can call them national champs! For the first time ever!
How about that? How about me leading with NCAA soccer? Congratulations to my New England brothers. The Vermont Catamounts winning their first ever national championship in school history in any sport. Beating Marshall last night 2-1 in overtime. How about that? Trust me, there was a much better match than the two football games that were played last night. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Network. Thanks for checking us out across the video platform. Following me at PShep326 on Twitter and X, on Facebook, and also at Tampa Joe's Facebook page. Whole bunch of Facebook pages, by the way, including my own. SR1029thegame.com, Ion TV, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube. And don't forget to call or text the show 727-858-6650. Great show lined up for you today. Lots going on. I'm going to recap both football games last night. Again, congratulations to the Vermont Catamounts in Cary, North Carolina yesterday. The championship game. Maximilian Kissel, we call him Max here on the show, scored a sudden death overtime, and Vermont wins the against Marshall 2-1. How about that? That is something. Great job by the Catamounts, and always for me, love to see any Northeast team win the national championship, and great to see in soccer. It wasn't North Carolina or Virginia, or a lot of the other powers. Indiana's been really good over the years, but what a run! Good job by Vermont beating Marshall 2-1 in overtime. No stupid penalty kicks in college, right? You just keep playing until you score, I believe. So that's what happened last night. Anyway, we got lots of. We'll recap both NFL games last night. Minnesota beat Chicago 30-12. Bears cannot get out of their own way. They committed a bunch of stupid-ass, dumb penalties that must have been channeling the Patriots. And then Atlanta, in an absolute hideous snooze fest, 15-9 win over Vegas. Couple of Hail Marys at the end for Vegas, and Atlanta, they got a pick in the end. We'll play the sound for you. Some college football news. James Franklin going off on the transfer portal this time of year, and I got to say, I agree with a lot of what he was saying. Kids transferring before bowl games. Speaking of Marshall, how about Marshall? Last week they denied. They said they're not going to play because they had 25 plus kids in the transfer portal after their coach left to take another job. So we'll talk about that. College football with Jay Flannelly coming up at 8:30 with from Beavs. We'll a lot to talk about there with him. And we'll have an NBA, NHL rundown. I think the Cup final is tonight between OKC and Milwaukee on a neutral court in Vegas. Yay. Yay. So lots going on. We got a lot to cover today. There's a lot of stuff with Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee show that I think is really, really interesting. And I'm going to keep saying it. Those of you who think he has to go house hopping around the country, you are going to be sadly mistaken when you see the people and the kids that can want to play in that program. Going to be very, very interesting. We got more sound, some fallout from Gerard Mayo, and a lot more. So there you have it. Anyway, we say good morning to Angel Martinez, who's always busy as a bee with great stuff happening here on the network. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning, Senor Peter. It is Tuesday morning. I tell you what, we can't really complain too much about the weather down here because I know up north it's sucky degrees. Down this way, it's warm degrees.
Yeah, the humidity was about 98% this morning. It's 68 degrees, but it feels. But hey, how can you complain? The 2/3 of the country are freezing. And the humidity is going to go down here the next couple of days. So in Fort Myers right now at 68. I'm sure it's around that up where you are in Tampa and wherever you are around this great country of ours and planet for that matter around the world, because we are heard in 52, 53 countries all around, which is fantastic. But I've got a great rant coming up later on from Christopher Mad Dog Rousseau, who hates everything. But now he's upset about Christmas games being on Netflix. We'll get to that in a little bit. Did you catch any of the football action last night at all?
No, that's it's a bore fest. Both games were going to be ridiculous. You have
not if you have shekels on it.
No, are you kidding me? Even if I did, somehow or another, the Bears would have found a way to win if I'd have bet with the Bears. But no, it was just no one, I think, looked forward to both of these games. Obviously, Minnesota wants to keep pace between the Eagles and the Lions, but come on, who's going to watch that second game?
Well, they're both on at the same time. That's what sucked. I mean, one was at 8, one was at 8:30. I mean, the Vegas game and Atlanta was absolutely horrific, horrible. A couple of highlights in the which we'll get to in the Minnesota-Chicago game. Then after, we're going to get to if the playoffs started today. We haven't done that in a while. Really, really interesting stuff. And I think, with the Lions being so banged up, this is going to open the door big time, not only for the Vikings, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are really, really finding their stride right now. Since they were 4-6, it got Mike Evans back, as I thought. I didn't think they'd lose again. I think they're going to finish the season 11-6, win the division. They're going to have a host of playoff game, and they are going to be one of those teams, along with the Minnesota Vikings, that nobody is going to want to play. Nobody. But did the Dynamic Debbie stay up to watch her Bears last night?
No, she didn't even tune in. She had
really?
Yeah.
Well, let me sum up the Bears night with this play. This is so typical Bears and to a degree Patriots, but this is what happens to bad teams.
It's first and goal from the 1. You got the big guy in here at fullback. Handoff to Swift. He's in. Touchdown Chicago.
Not so fast.
With Doug Kramer in front of him.
Oops.
In at fullback.
Oops.
It's a 1-yard touchdown run and the 6th of the year for DeAndre Swift.
Is it?
Flag is down on the play. They've got a couple of them down.
Number 68, an ineligible number, came in and played an eligible position. He did not report.
Oh, no.
5-yard penalty. First down.
We've seen this one before. We sure have.
Oh, man.
Paging Dan Skipper.
Oh.
Oh, man. Well, he's got to report.
He does, Joe, and the problem is I'm guessing now. I don't know. But I'm not sure anybody told him this week. I mean, you just don't come in this situation and play fullback. I mean, they've worked him at fullback, and he never got anywhere near the idea of reporting. So just a big mistake. We'll see how much it hurts him.
So take the touchdown off the board, first and goal from the 6.
Yeah, that was in the third quarter, and they had to settle for a field goal there. I don't think it would have mattered. However, it's just a Stunad type of play. After the game, here's Thomas Brown on Doug Kramer not reporting.
With Kramer with the reporting issue, what was your view from the sideline? What was your understanding?
Yeah, I mean, normally when he reports in the game, his back is turned to me, so I can't always tell if he does or he doesn't. I think if there was some indecision, I could have just called a timeout, save it, and got back in the huddle. So I'll put that on myself.
But I think Troy Aikman in the broadcast last night brought up a good point. I mean, how is that not drilled in? That's obviously a play they've been running in practice all week. And I mean, you telling me Thomas Brown, and I don't care what coach it is, you got to drill into these guys. Hey, you got to report. And it's obviously a play he's not used to doing. But I'm sure this was not something that just came up but 10 seconds before this play happened by Thomas Brown. You got to drill that into these guys' heads. Situational football, that is absolutely unacceptable. It's just stupid. It's just stupid. And don't tell me that he wasn't told. A guy like Doug Kramer should have that instinctively in his head. Like, hey, I'm going in as I'm going in, not only am I reporting as an eligible receiver, I'm going to report in as an eligible fullback. And then that's what happens? That's like completely unacceptable. But that's like the Bears. That's what happens to bad football teams like my Patriots. They just shoot themselves in the foot on so many different levels. Meanwhile, early on in the game, it was Justin Jefferson with a 70-yard touchdown pass and a nice message at the end.
Play action from Darnold.
Catch, I should say.
Touchdown, Jefferson.
Shout out to Randy Moss after the touchdown from Justin Jefferson, his 8th of the year.
Yes, it is. And that was Randy Moss, which I forgot to mention yesterday. If I did, I don't think I gave it full. Randy Moss, we're all thinking of and praying for him. He has found out about cancer in his bile duct and really battling. Had to leave ESPN. A couple of weeks ago, he left the set, and everybody thought it was something wrong with his eyes, which maybe there was because he was wearing sunglasses on the set, and he had explained himself why he was wearing sunglasses. I said, okay, maybe he's got some kind of cornea or glaucoma. I don't know, something. But it turns out it's much more serious cancer of the bile ducts. So we thoughts and prayers go out to Randy, and to his credit, he wanted everybody to keep doing We Got Moss, that great segment that they do on ESPN on NFL Countdown. Getting back to the game, Sam Darnold will absolutely get comeback player of the year. 24 of 40, 231 yards, touchdown and an interception. Great job last night. Jones had a touchdown. Akers had a touchdown, rushing touchdown as well. Jefferson, as you heard, had a receiving touchdown, 73 yards on 7 carries. And it's just the Chicago Bears, all the expectations. It was one of those teams at the beginning of the season, Angel. So, I mean, you remember, I didn't have any faith in Caleb Williams and that coaching with Matt Eberflus and now with Thomas Brown. You saw Caleb Williams start to play a little bit better the first couple of weeks when Thomas Brown took over offensively, but that's a bad football team. And it starts with the coaching, starts with everything. It's just a bad football team. They have some offensive weapons on paper, but they just can't get it together. Here's Caleb Williams on the physical toll of getting hit.
Caleb, has there been an accumulation effect to all these sacks and hits you're taking, maybe taking a toll on you, not just physically but mentally as well?
I wouldn't say mentally. Obviously, physically, let's put it in this context. Say you get in three car accidents, and a month you're going to feel it, and that's what a hit is in football. Is if y'all didn't know, a football, and getting hit, especially when you can't deliver a hit to somebody, as in like running the ball. You take those over amount of time, and it builds up. But like I said before, I got to do well with hydrating, do well with working out, and all of that, and stay to my routine. And it's kept me healthy throughout the whole year, and got to keep going.
Yeah, got to keep up hydrating at U.S. Bank Stadium because it gets to like 95. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, it's in a dome. I know you got to hydrate. I get it. But when we talk about hydrating in a dome game, it's like, okay, you got to start that stuff 12 hours to 24 hours before. That's when you got to hydrate. Yeah. You don't like walk into the stadium at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning and start guzzling water and Gatorade. You got to do it the night before. And maybe he does, it just whatever. But Caleb Williams yesterday, 18 to 31, 191 yards and a touchdown. He also had 3 yards on 4 attempts. His long last night was 2 yards, by the way. But after the game, Minnesota's Jonathan Graynard talked about chasing Caleb.
Part of that game plan was trying to chase down, once again, Caleb Williams. It was like a little bit of a cat and mouse game with you guys at times. How difficult is it to chase that guy around, and how exhausted were you on that big play over here?
Yeah, man. When you got a guy like him, man, he can literally make every throw on the field, and obviously he can use his legs, extend plays. You just got to make sure you continue to just be after him, be relentless. But man, listen, I'm gonna sleep really, really good tonight because I just know that I'm exhausted right now. So I'm glad it was a team effort, man. At times you got to do a little bit more. Obviously, when you got a guy like that, glad we came out with a dub, and we got to keep going.
Okay, yeah. Here's Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Vikings, talking about Randy Moss.
Since we initially heard the news about Randy, I know me personally as a former teammate of mine, there's very few people in the NFL world that I respect as much as Randy Moss. I know this organization, his name is up on, up in the rafters here. He's a Hall of Famer. But I think you guys probably felt it. Just that was real. It was authentic. We're behind him 100%. And to have CC and Jake Reed here on a moment's notice, I kind of brought that idea up earlier in the week. I just thought it would be an amazing show of support for him to see his 2 former teammates out there with his jersey. I just think I speak for everybody I know in the Twin Cities and in our organization where Randy Moss means the world to us, and we're behind him 1,000%. We know he's going to do exactly what he said he's going to do, which is, moss this cancer and come back better. And when he does, I can't wait to have him right up there, hopefully blowing the horn before the game and getting this place ready to go.
Yeah, hopefully that will be the case. We shall see. Meanwhile, back to the Bears. Cole Kmet says team cannot worry about others not doing their job.
Yeah, I don't know. If I had an answer to that, I would give it to you. I think what I've learned through it all is just like you got to be on your own and trying to get other guys to do certain things or other people to do certain things. Like it takes away from your preparation. So you got to take care of your own and just do your job.
You can say shit on this show.
Other guys aren't doing their job or other people aren't doing their job, like that's on them. And then you got to figure out how you're going to handle that too. But at the end of the day, like you just got to take care of your job and do what you got to do and prepare the right way. And but yeah, I mean, we obviously just haven't executed it clean enough, and usually that's what it comes down in these NFL games.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we played you the what happened earlier in the game after the touchdown by DeAndre Swift was called back because Doug Kramer forgot to report in as an eligible player. There is also this debacle as well by the Bears, which seemingly, as George Costanza would say, seemingly was a great play, Angel, until it wasn't.
4th down and 16 and a block. Ryan Wright has it blocked and then knocked out of bounds. Dominique Robinson got through, and Wright is having a tough time getting back up. Robinson got there, and that's the first punt block of Ryan Wright all year, and a smile for the special teams for the Chicago Bears.
Well, I thought Chandler, number 32, I thought he would try to at least slow him down. I'm not sure he ever even saw Robinson. That's a big man coming through the gap. Hits him right. He didn't even get his hands on it. The ball hit him right in the helmet.
And there's no foul because of the block.
I mean, this ball hits him right in the face mask.
And a big-time hit.
Big hit.
On Ryan Wright.
Oops. Again, what was a good block ends up being a penalty, and so be it. Bob says, good morning. Good morning, my good friend. Bob, how are you? All right, so that's the final, that one, 30-12. Let's get to the pathetic game of one of the worst games of the year, the Atlanta Falcons on the road. They needed this one to stay alive, only a game behind the Bucs still in the NFC South. And they win 15-9. Let me give you the highlights / lowlights here. There are not many of them, but there are a few. One that might be the first time we've had a safety on this show in a long time.
Aggressive approach with this defense as you'd expect. Another big run blitz. Did he get out? No. Stopped in the end zone. A safety. Zach Harrison and a whole bunch of Falcons converging.
You just see the getting off of the ball when you're talking about Zach Harrison and Contavious Street again.
To the right, win, new line of scrimmage, penetration, and then everybody party to the football. Atlanta just sold out, right, Lewis? You're not going to throw the football. We're just going to commit to stopping the run.
That's just two great plays by Contavious Street. That's just getting your eyes focused in on that football, getting off on the snap, just like they drill every single day, defensive line.
Thanks to ESPN with a call. It's just an absolute pathetic game. Let's go. Let's see. So the safety, that made it 9-3 Atlanta in that one in the second quarter. They would hang on 15-9. The Raiders, though, had two chances at the end on a couple of Hail Marys, and here is how the game ended.
Three receivers to the right. Ritter drops way back, steps up, launches high to the end zone, jump ball again, and it's going to be intercepted. Not batted down, caught in the end zone, and Atlanta is going to survive.
It should have been knocked down, but it was caught, and it was a dangerous interception. Always knock it down. I still don't understand how, we see time and time again. Knock it down, knock it down. Still hear TJ in my head from ESPN for all those years. Knock it down. Meanwhile, after the game, let's see. Antonio Pierce, head coach of the Raiders. He's frustrated, Angel.
Still show up to play. What's that a testament to?
Everybody, coaches, players, staff, organization.
You stink.
I mean, guys are all in. Listen, man, we're not winning. Let's tell y'all. We're not winning. Should
no.
I want to win? Hell yeah, I want to win. I want to keep sitting here looking at the same goddamn thing we're looking at every week and have the same discussion with y'all now. We got guys that's battling, no matter. Next man up, right? You can poke armor and do all this stuff, but these guys are not budging. I'm not budging. We'll keep chopping wood. At some point, the damn thing will break and go our way.
No, it won't. You've lost 10 in a row. You have Bo Derek yourself in a negative way there. Desmond Ritter says they're still trying to find themselves.
He's trying to find a microphone.
Jesus.
Desmond, obviously a tough way to end the game on the Hail Mary. What kind of were the emotions of the team just coming out the field and in the locker room after?
I mean, it's tough being in the position we are. I mean, we're just searching. Searching for a win, searching for positive energy.
The search is over.
We fight every single week. But we just keep saying we fight, but nothing's happening to where we can go push over the edge and get a win.
Good Survivor ballad.
At the end of the day, we all got to be better. I got to be better. O-line, D-line,
You
offense,
stink!
defense, special teams.
You stink. Your team stinks. Your coach stinks. Your organization stinks.
It was kind of a sluggish start there for the offense. Any answers as to why you guys are kind of stuck in the mud there for the up until basically the end of that first.
Pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's negative plays. Whether it's first play of the game or midway through the third quarter. It doesn't matter who was making them. We all were making them, and it was just negative plays. And that first drive,
Negative plays. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. My team's familiar with that. We got a bunch of them. Your team stinks almost as bad as my team. My team hasn't lost 10 in a row, but the Raiders have. Now, talk about stinking in a game and a winning effort. I'll tell you what, Kirk Cousins, what has happened to this guy with all that money? He stinks. Or mediocre to stinky at best. Pepe Le Pew, 11 of 17, 112 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Very uninspiring football. I really thought he would be a lot better with that team, but he's not. And all I'm thinking of in that game is put in my man Michael Penix Jr., who I told you I thought would be the best one in that draft class of really good quarterbacks. Raheem Morris was asked that same question after the game, head coach of the Falcons.
Raheem, Willie Ramirez with the Associated Press. If the hot hand was the rushing game and that's what you saw, can you assess Kirk's play tonight and where you're at? I know you guys got the dub, but in terms of him as the starting quarterback moving forward.
He's got to play better. And, obviously you got to go back and look at everything. But, he wants to play better. He's got to play better. We got to find a way to get him to play better. And obviously we'll get to work tomorrow, and that's a part of our process, right? You go, you look at the tape, you review with the people that needs to be reviewed with. We get all the coordinators in the room. We'll talk with everybody. And we got to play better at the quarterback position.
So part B to that, if he can't, are you prepared to replace him with Michael Penix?
We got everybody on our roster for a reason, right? We got so much to get better at, and those things will always be discussed. That's just the nature of the beast in football. It's just so heavily talked about at the quarterback position because there's only one guy out there. So for us, man, our mentality is to find a way to win the next game. And that's just the mentality that we're going to have.
Now, Kirk Cousins entered the game last night with no touchdown passes and 8 picks in the previous 4 starts, which is absolutely stinky and pathetic. The word of the day is stinky. Raising questions about whether Michael Penix Jr. should take over at quarterback, which if I were them, I would seriously consider it. Cousins, by the way, the 4-year, $180 million contract this year over the 8th pick in the NFL draft. And again, 112 yards with an interception. His 30-yard pass to Drake London, who was wide open, 14 seconds left in the first quarter, put Atlanta up 7-0. It was his first touchdown since firing 3 of them November 3rd in a 27-21 victory over the Dallas Cowboys. So anyway, Bijan Robinson rushed for 125 yards, and London caught 3 passes for 53. What a hideous, stinky game that was last night. It was absolutely terrible. Terrible out there. All right, so let's play a little game that we like to do once a week at least. If the playoffs started today, where do you want to begin, Angel? NFC or AFC?
Let's go with the AFC.
All right. In the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs hanging on with a 13-1 record. Still don't know if what the status of Patrick Mahomes is other than he has an ankle injury. A lot of people say sit him out the rest of the year, but I don't know about that. They would get the bye in the first round. The 7-2 matchup would be the L.A. Chargers, who just got smoked at SoFi, or Ray J. West, because that's what it seemed like by more Buccaneers fans there. They would be at Buffalo to play the Bills, and man, would I love the Bills on that one at home. The 6-3 matchup would have the Denver Broncos, the upstart Broncos, with Bo Nix traveling to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers, the 3 seed, and the 5-4 matchup would be the Baltimore Ravens at the Houston Texans. That'd be the 5-4 matchup. Meanwhile, over in the NFC, barely hanging on to the 1 seed would be the Detroit Lions right now. The 7-2 matchup would be an NFC East rematch again. The third time they would play in the season would be Washington, the 7 seed, at the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2 seed. The 6-3 matchup would be the Green Bay Packers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wouldn't that be a fun one as well? And then the 5-4 match would be the 12-2 Vikings at the Rams, who are 8-6. So imagine that the Vikings would have to go on the road because, as we know, division's champion. Now, division champs are still in it, or get the playoff game. In the AFC, still hanging around, the Chargers are the last team in at 8-6. Indy is 6-8. Miami's 6-8. Cincinnati's 6-8. They are still in it. Everybody else has been eliminated. Over in the NFC, Seattle at 8-6 would be the 8th seed right now. They're a game behind Washington. Atlanta is 7-7. Arizona 7-7. San Fran 6-8. The Cowboys actually have not been eliminated yet, surprisingly, 6-8. And neither have the New Orleans Saints. They're still hanging around at 5-9. But going to be really interesting down the stretch. And if you look at just looking at, say, Detroit and Minnesota. Detroit's 4-0 in the division, 8-1 in the conference. The Minnesota Vikings are 3-1 in the division and 7-2 in the conference. Now, that can change, obviously, but right now that's why Detroit is ahead with the tiebreaker there. So, there you have it. There's your update in the NFL. We'll have some fun when we get back. Got some videos as well from the Pat McAfee show, some other videos that I think you're going to find very interesting. Mad Dog Russo on his radio show goes off on Christmas and Netflix. All of that and more NFL news and pressers from yesterday's press conferences. The day afters are always very, very interesting. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Tuesday, December 17th on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jim and the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying That's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you. You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class, let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
I think this particular game, I don't think lives up to the standard, and regardless of whoever's in there, I think everyone's very, very aware after today's meetings that is not anything that we want Miami Dolphin football to look like.
You stink too. You're just less stinkier than the Patriots and the Raiders. Mike McDaniel, the Wild Thing. Always coming up with a wonderful answer. It takes 3 minutes to say we stink. Yeah, Miami lost this week as well to Houston, and they're fading fast. They're basically out of it as well. Team that I picked to win the division this year, which is how stupid does that look right now? I thought the Buffalo Bills would obviously be in the playoffs, but it has been all Buffalo. It has been all Bills in the AFC East this year, and certainly Josh Allen is going to probably walk away with the MVP. Oh, here's a little bit more from Mike McDaniel.
I think, our competitors in the running back room, want to do better with the looks that are given. But last night, I didn't think that they're really giving their yards per carry doesn't do them justice. I thought our blocking wasn't good enough, and so then the focus is specifically on this week and how to improve that. And anything beyond that, is conversation, hyperbole or whatever.
Hyperbole.
We need to get it better fast because the same problem will present itself if we allow it to this week against the 49ers.
Hyperbole. That would be hyperbole in English. Hyperbole.
Maybe we're thinking about the old Tecmo Bowl.
And talking about the pathetic Dolphins running game that was absolutely non-existent on Sunday, and their 20-12 loss to Houston, as they only rushed for Achane and Mustard rushed for a combined 49 yards. Wright had 3. That's it. So 52 yards, or 52 yards total. Tua was 196 yards. He was pathetic with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions. So the Dolphins are 6-8. They're done. I mean, they're absolutely. It would take a miracle of all miracles for them to get in. Again, they are technically still alive in the playoff picture, tied with Indianapolis at 6-8. Actually, Indianapolis is ahead of them, but they'd need an absolute miracle to sneak into the playoffs, and it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Rick says he sounds like he's high when he talks. Oh yeah. And I know it's just the way it is, and maybe I shouldn't make fun of him as much as I should, but they will never, ever, ever, ever go far in the postseason with that guy with that guy as a head coach. Never, ever happen. Never.
Castrum guy says that guy. I feel like he may be gone at the end of the season. Which, listen,
he might be. If it ends ugly, he might be. They got. My goal as a Patriot guy is to pillage Ben Johnson away from the Detroit Lions, the offensive coordinator, and to somehow pillage Brian Flores away from the Minnesota Vikings as defensive coordinator. That's my goal. All right, Angel, let's play a video here. If we could scroll down, and let's scroll down to Pat McAfee's show. Speaking of the Patriots and Ben Johnson, I didn't know this. They talked about this yesterday on the show as far as most people want Gerard Mayo out and a lot of other coaches on that team because it's been that bad. And I am not one to usually say coaches lose their job after their first year and everything else. But clearly, Gerard Mayo is not ready for this position. He's not. And the Patriots should have known that despite trying for 4+ years to say that he would be. He's absolutely not, and neither is a lot of his staff. They're terrible. But here's them discussing the situation on the Pat McAfee show yesterday.
This one's from at Boston Connor. Looks like a gentleman, doesn't he? Looks like a good lad right there.
Yeah, that is a good lad.
Looks like a good lad right there. Is that a bow tie?
Is that a Madonna mic?
That is a tux, if you will.
Oh, he's tuxedo, that guy. Okay, hashtag I don't want to overreact, but I'm a Gerard Mayo guy. Listen, I was told Gerard Belichick as well. I love this guy. He won a lot of games for me. This guy's won a couple Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Man, it's nice to be able to keep a guy like Gerard Mayo around to be the head coach. I think is what that first sentence implied whenever this particular gentleman said, I'm a Gerard Mayo guy. I want him to do well. The players on the Patriots are backing him and the other coaches post-game, so perhaps fans should do the same. However, Drake May is a 22-year-old quarterback who is showing signs of greatness. New England will have the most cap space in the NFL by a wide margin and a top 5 draft pick. Spelled it wrong.
Shit.
It's okay. You get a pick, too. Okay? Get the picture. of the pick. To paint the picture, it's top 5. If there's even a chance Ben Johnson of the Detroit Lions would want to be the head coach, the Crafts have to admit their mistake and get him in the building to right the ship before we waste a great young quarterback on a rookie contract. Connor, you're from the area, also a New England Patriot fan. Do you think what this guy wrote is accurate depiction of how everybody feels, or just him?
I wouldn't say accurate depiction, because I think a lot of what people are feeling is way, way, way more aggressive than that. I think most people want Mayo out. I think they're sick of him. They think it did not work. I think most people are out on Bob and Jonathan Kraft. I think they think they're both kind of fools, buffoons. They've kind of swindled the franchise back into a dumpster that not many people, damn near nobody actually is really used to, even though the last 4 years have been terrible. But I do think that the Gerard Mayo thing, for the most part in New England, is just completely fail, did not work, will not work. I don't feel that way completely. Like we were talking about, we have talked about MCDC. After the first year of MCDC, I don't think any of us thought like, hey, this is what they're going to be in just a few years. But personally, if you have a chance for a offensive coach, and Gerard Mayo has done some of this to himself. He's said stuff that a lot of people think is ridiculous. Yesterday, he kind of didn't throw Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, into, underneath the bus, if you will. But he did say, like, hey, you said that, not me, when asked about play calling and it not being great. And then, he walked that back today, which has been kind of routine to this point in the season, where something said right after the game. And then the next day in his weekly hit on the Sports Hub or whatever it is, he then walks it back. So people are kind of sick of that too. And just because Drake May is so good, like, I think everyone who watches agrees, like, this guy is fucking nasty. He can do it all. He runs. The cool pitch was sweet, but he threw a fucking dime down the sideline to Kendrick Bourne. Like, everyone sees what Drake May can be. And everything that we've heard about Ben Johnson is, like, he wants to go to the right situation. And that's why I kind of tried to lay out, like, young, great quarterback.
This is you. Oh, it is you.
No, that's not me. But,
it is you.
But I think a lot of people are saying this.
All right, yeah. I mean, there's most of that. I agree with like 99% of it. And I think that's how everybody feels. And yeah, Ben Johnson, if you can steal him away and he wants to come to the Patriots, come in, bring your own staff, get rid of every single offensive line coach on this team. As I mentioned yesterday, all of them need to go. It has become an embarrassment. I never thought that this team would bottom out like they have. 6-7 years ago. I always thought, okay, there's going to be some rebuilding that goes on after Belichick leaves, and this is before he left. I mean, I know there's going to be some sort of a rebuilding process, but I never thought they'd be close to hitting rock bottom again. I don't know. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because right now they're projected for a lot of people's mock drafts, to take Travis Hunter, which would be awesome. I would take him in a second. He'd be the third pick, and they would, he's projected to be taken by the Patriots as well. They should. There's a lot of potential there. But, I never thought we'd hit rock bottom again or close to it many years ago, because I thought this franchise was too smart. They're always one step ahead of the game. Even if Bill left, that you'd still have the Crafts in charge and everything else, and they would never let it happen like this. And I really don't understand this promotion of Gerard Mayo, why it was so evident several years ago. And this is not something that came up over when the season ended last year, when Bill left. This is something that has been in the works for several years now, and it has been a disaster. And it's been a disaster from, obviously, the banked-up offensive line, which I understand, but that's Elliott Wolf's job to put some people around Drake May. He didn't do it. The people that they have in there are incompetent every single week, mostly all of them. They still don't have a number one or even number two, and some may argue a number 3 wide receiver, which is pathetic. Yet Drake May still seems to find ways to make plays when he can, when he's not in 2nd and 15 and 3rd and 22 all the time, because his jackass offensive linemen jump false start or hold all the time. So Jonathan, would be nice to hear from you about anything, and Robert too. This is an absolute disaster what has happened to the Patriots, and I never thought they'd be close to rock bottom again, where they're picking in the top 3. And I don't see how they're going to win. I think Buffalo's going to smoke them. By the way, they changed that game to 4:25, which is good for us here and me in my home because we're hosting a few friends. Always better to host and have people come over between 3 and 3:30 as opposed to 11:30 and noontime. More time to prepare. Angel, you're going to love this. If we could, our good friend Scott Zolak yesterday on the Sports Hub. If we could scroll down, it's under Zolak and Bertrand. This was breaking news on their show yesterday, on Zoe's show with Bertrand. And he may not have even been there. But this is when they announced at the game, because Zoe is the radio color analyst for the Buffalo Bills. I know what he's thinking. He doesn't want games at 4 o'clock or 4:25 or at nighttime. And not with a team that's like this. He'd rather get into Buffalo, get the hell out, and get home. So here's what happened when Zoe found out yesterday the Patriots game got moved from 1 o'clock to 4:25.
Oh, jeez.
McCarthy, we got an update as well.
Ooh.
It's official, Zoe. Schedule update. Sunday's game, Patriots, Bills, has been flexed to 4:25.
Yeah, well.
This Sunday.
No. Next Sunday, the Sunday after.
Sunday, December 22nd, so
Okay.
this coming Sunday.
This Sunday.
Is now 4:25.
Suck it. Yeah. Suck it, Zoe. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
You got to be effing kidding me.
We're not, actually.
You a-holes. Not the
Jim
team.
Louth wants to know if Matt McCarthy wants to work 10 to 1 on Sunday.
God damn
Yeah,
it.
actually, I think I can do that.
Pants around his ankles.
I can do 10 to 1 on Sunday. Jim, I'm in. I can make that happen.
Zoe, you free at 4:25 until 7:30?
F you.
Extra time in Buffalo for Zoe.
You want to
Look at
come on
Prime
10 to
time,
1,
look
Zoe,
at
with
us.
me? Headlines.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Brought to you by
You
Charles.
got to be kidding me.
We're not, actually.
I mean, this is how bad it is that Zoe's a great guy, great friend, pissed off because he's got to go to. Because when you think about it, when you're in a situation like the Patriots, no matter where you play, but you're going to a really cold, raw place, and Buffalo's going to be much colder at 4:25 than it is at 1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to get the hell in and out. So I'm sure he was thinking, we're in at 1. We'll be down by 20 plus points heading into the fourth quarter. Be a lot of garbage time notes I have to read, and we're out at 4 o'clock. And I don't know how much post-game show he has to do. So maybe we'll say 4:30. He's back on the plane, probably within the hour and a half. He's probably back in Boston by, and home probably by 8 o'clock. Now, but when the game moves to 4:25, you can tack on an additional, he won't be home probably till midnight. That's the way it's going to be. He's so pissed. He's upset. We used to welcome changes like that, Angel. We used to welcome changes like that. By the way, a couple of college football notes. Now it's just misery. But I welcome the change since we're hosting a few friends on Sunday. So, yes, I welcome the 4:25 game, as I did last week. By the way, college football news. Cincinnati and Nebraska just got announced late last night. They will open next year at Kansas City's Arrowhead Stadium on Thursday, August 28th. And also current get-in prices for college football playoff games on StubHub. In South Bend, the Indiana-Notre Dame average ticket is $416. SMU at Penn State and Happy Valley, a much more reasonable $57. Clemson at Texas is $108, and Tennessee, Ohio State is $142 there. Now, if we could continue to scroll, or actually, we're going to have to scroll down again. Speaking of college football news, it's right under the show. It's right under the one we just had. Bo Pribula has decided to transfer out of Penn State, backup quarterback there, right in the middle of the playoffs. James Franklin, this is one thing I do agree with him with. I'm sure a lot of other coaches feel the same way. And I'll bet even Jay Flannelly, and both of us are not a big fan of James Franklin at all, but he does make a lot of sense here that something's going to have to be done about, nil money and transfer portal aside. You got to wait till these bowl games are over, at least that. But here's James Franklin talking about the situation.
We talked last week, had no intentions of leaving, but we got problems in college football. And I can give you my word. Bo Prabula did not want to leave our program, and he did not want to leave our program until the end of the season. But the way the portal is and the timing of it and the way our team is playing, and when you play the position of quarterback and there's only one spot and those spots are filling up, he felt like he was put in a no-win situation, and I agree with him. And number one, I hate for it. Number one, most importantly, for Bo Prabula. I don't think it's in the best interest of the student athlete. I don't think it's in the best interest of college football. But I think that's our challenge right now, right? Who is really running college football and making the best decisions for the student athletes and for our sport as a whole? Bo should not be put in this position. To have a transfer portal / free agency going on right in the middle of the playoffs, there's just a lot of things that don't really make sense. And I know there's been a lot of discussions about, maybe a commissioner of college football, but I think it's pretty obvious we need that. We need somebody running college football. We need somebody that is not biased based on a conference.
Good luck with
and that is out of the financial impacts of it as well.
Well, there it is right there. And that
I'm
is,
concerned.
And again, stop talking about students. That is so irrelevant. I can't even stress enough. I don't care if you agree with me or not. I'm telling you the truth. The kids' education is so far down. This is about television money. It's about money, money, money. The root of all evil, and it certainly applies in this case in college football. That's why they got to find a way to get a happy balance here, happy medium, come to an accord, if you will. It's the money that is driving all of this stuff, from the conferences, what they get, all of them, especially the Power Fours, the bowl money, now the playoffs. It's just more money, 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 money. And the welfare of the kids is secondary to the money. The kids are obviously part of the money. They're the ones that generate a lot of the money, which is why the nil money is there. But this transfer portal thing, they got to get it under control. It really sucks. Like a team like Marshall has 25 or 29 kids that, because a coach left, they don't want to play in a bowl game. I mean, that sucks. I mean, it really does, and it's an ongoing problem in college football. It's going to be an ongoing problem if they don't get a hold of this thing. Meanwhile, where is it? There's more. Here's Dusty Dvorak on college football radio. He sounds off on the college football calendar. My bad.
They have to find a way to get this fixed. I understand about enrollment and class schedules and all that. Figure it out. Figure it out. This isn't fair to these teams. It isn't fair to these players. It isn't fair to these coaches. It isn't fair to any of the entire system. How about Marshall? I mean, Marshall now has had to drop out of their bowl game because their coach left. They got 29 players have entered the portal during bowl season. They've had to drop out. They can't even play in their bowl game. Like, this is a mess. This is a mess. And now we've got teams competing for a national championship, and their players are jumping in the transfer portal, which, again, we saw it last year. We're going to continue to see it, and it's a terrible structure and a terrible situation to put everybody in. Fix the system. Fix the calendar. DK, enough's enough, man. I can't stand this aspect of this entire situation.
Look, that part I agree with. They're going to have to tweak some stuff here with all of this. But right now, all the teams that are in, fans don't care about this stuff. But it's when you're at Penn State and you just heard Coach Franklin talking about guys. I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to do that. There's got to be some stipulation, something in there where if you cannot leave till after your bowl game. It's just it's not right. There's something, unless you're hurt, obviously. More college football news. Bill Belichick yesterday on Pat McAfee's show on players coming into contact with UNC to come play for him.
Let's talk about the who's that are going to be out there. Because in the NFL, contract negotiation, free agency, you kind of know what comps are and how much to pay, and you kind of know who you want and who's the best player. In this particular case, there's no way you've been able to watch film on everybody. And also, your conversations with player, agent, or person, how are those going? Are you selling your program to them? Are you explaining what their life's going to be like? Are they asking you questions? And how long are these conversations going? Because I think that is the big question everybody has is Bill Belichick going to want to, I think is the big one, talk to all these people and explain why they should come? Like, how have those gone for you? How have those situations gone for you?
Yeah, well, we've been talking to, a number of players, and we have more coming in this week as part of the portal. That closes on Sunday, so we have guys coming in really pretty much every day this week. Still talking to a couple of high school players. We signed the quarterback. We signed Bryce and announced that at the basketball game on Saturday afternoon. So that's a big one for us locally here. But there's still a few players involved there, but the majority of them are transfer players in the portal. And again, that portal will extend a little bit as the college football playoffs go and teams get eliminated, and then those players will be eligible to jump on it as well. Right now, the numbers are pretty high, but that'll start to taper off a little bit as we go. But yeah, absolutely. We're selling the program, but quite honestly, Pat, a lot of players and agents are coming to us saying, we want to be part of the program. Is there a spot for us? Would you take this player, that player, and so forth? And so a lot of the agents are also representing players in the transfer portal that we've dealt with in the National Football League. And so a lot of those relationships now carry over into college football. So it's been an interesting process. It's going fast, but it's fun. And, it's great to be at North Carolina and great to be at this great university and back in the game. We're spending money, not as much as we spent in the NFL, but, we're tossing around a little bit of money. And so, I kind of, enjoy seeing the players getting compensated for, the arrangement that they're going to be going into. And so it's, it's a new landscape in college football, but honestly, not too different. It's different, but it's not too different. This part of the process isn't too different from what we've dealt with in the NFL.
I'm telling you right now, they are going to make a serious push for the college football playoff next year. I am telling you, the doubters out there, again, the house hopping to break bread and have a donut and coffee with these kids is not going to mean a hill of beans. And it's a very unique situation with Bill Belichick. It is incredibly unique. I usually would agree with everybody who says, you got to confront these kids. You got to be in front. You got to show that you care. They are coming to him. He is the only one. Bill Belichick has reversed the process. He's reversed the process. He doesn't have to leave. They're coming to him, and they will continue to come to him because they know of his connections. And the pipeline to the NFL is one of the great lines he could have used as a recruiting tool, and I think it's true. And the doubters out there, especially the SEC snobatorian people, they are going to be in for one big freaking surprise when it comes to next season, when they see how many really good, outstanding 4- and 5-star kids end up going and transferring, whether it be recruited or transferring to North Carolina. You watch. The only thing that sucks is for my Miami Hurricanes that you got to compete with that, and everybody else in the ACC as well. You should be a tad afraid of what is going on at Chapel Hill. You should be concerned. I'm not saying afraid, but I mean you should be concerned. And this is a completely unique situation. We've never seen anything like this before in college football. Never. Not only because there's NIL and the transfer portal and the 12-team playoff, which will expand in a couple of years to 14 or 16, but this is just a unique situation to have arguably the greatest coach of all time in the NFL come to an institution of higher learning. I threw that in as a joke, and can sit there, and players are recruiting him. In essence, players are recruiting him. What, Angel? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is it me or does it sound like I'm sorry? I was also motioning to my producer as well. But is it me or does Bill sound a lot like youthful and younger? Like he's really excited what's about to happen.
I think, I think he's very excited. I don't think he would have taken this job if he wasn't going to be excited. And I think he's going to show everybody. And now he's going to show everybody in college football, all these, the fine bombs of the world. Like I said, a lot of the SEC snotty people out there and the doubters are going to be in for a big surprise. They keep talking about how he has to sit in front of kids and their parents and convince them to come. That's bullshit. It is not going to matter. This is not your typical coach. This is not, what Nick Saban does. Kirby Smart, all that stuff. They have to do all that stuff. He doesn't. Here's my resume. I have a pipeline to the NFL. I can either teach you and get you there, or you can go play in the MAC or someplace else where you might, or you can play for me, the best coach of all time. And I will get you there. I will get you there. I'm telling you, man, he's reversed the process, and just on reputation alone. And if people around the country don't think that matters, you are sadly mistaken. This guy does not need to break bread with some high-end kid in Los Angeles. That kid will contact North Carolina and say, hey, I'd love to come play for coach. How do I do it? How do we do this? And then you set up a meeting, probably Zoom or whatever else you're using. There is no need. Belichick is not going to be plane hopping all over the country to recruit these kids. They're coming to him.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very, very unique. And I don't, I'm going to assume it's going to be fairly successful. All I know is from a recruiting aspect of it, it's completely changed. And only he could be able to do this. This does not happen with very few coaches. I'm not saying it doesn't happen with some coaches. Like if Kirby Smart, say, went to, Oklahoma. I mean, obviously that would be a draw as well. But when you have the connections that Bill has, there's nobody in college football that has any of these they don't have the resume, nor do they have the connections. And I take him at his word, and I think he will do it. The pipeline to the NFL, a lot of those kids are going to be playing on Sunday when they are done playing for Bill. A lot of them. And by a lot, I mean, your typical 1% to 2%. Because that's all they'd ever really make it anyway. But we shall see. All right, when we come back, Angel, yesterday, Damian Woody, Rex Ryan, and Teddy Bruschi have a discussion about why the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL. Interesting stuff. Also, Christopher Mad Dog Russo and his rant against Netflix and Christmas, which is going to be very funny. I'll have an NBA and NHL rundown as well. At the bottom of the hour at 8:30, Jay Flannelly from Beeves World. We'll be talking about this subject with Bill and what's going on in Michigan and Penn State and a whole lot more. And then Patrick Gilroy at 9:30 will be joining us. We'll talk some NBA hoops with him at 9:30 right here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it Gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Eye on Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Eye on Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
To some people, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much. But that's not necessarily true. By 6 months, they're combining vowels and consonants. By 9 months, they're trying out different kinds of sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on some meaning. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Early screening and intervention can make a lifetime of difference and unlock a world of possibilities. Take the first step at autismspeaks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
The following is made possible by Dad.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling all over it.
The dad joke. Corny, grown-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
Why do you have to be careful when it's raining cats and dogs? Because you might step in a poodle.
And kids that spend more time with their dads grow up to be smarter, more successful.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
And, with any luck, funnier adults.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the dance? Because he didn't have anybody to go with.
Dad jokes rule. So take a moment to make a moment and give your kid a laugh. It's as easy as going to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
That's really funny.
Okay, men, this is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick, and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
You think your team has that certain it when it comes back against the wall? But we've done this a few times when, with the snowstorms, we've been here before snowstorms. Does your team just sort of have that factor with it a little bit?
I think you gotta have it. I think we've shown, that we do have it over the years. We take pride in that. That's Buffalo, baby, right? It is. It's the magical Buffalo is how I look at it. And this it gives me chills even saying it, because our community, our fans, they don't give enough respect. They really don't. And I know people talk about the mafia, but it's not enough. And it goes beyond the mafia. It's the people of Buffalo, the communities, Western New York. I mean, just a lot of heart.
That is Buffalo head coach Sean McDermott right there. And the Bills having the it factor, and they certainly do. And it's like Super Bowl or bust this year for the Buffalo Bills, I believe. And they're certainly looking like the best team in the AFC. With a lot of football left to be played. The Kansas City Chiefs are still lurking out there right now with the number 1 seed. A lot of people think, doesn't matter what happens if Kansas City is still the favorite to win it all, because when push comes to shove in the playoffs, they will find a way to win. And that's all well and good. I mean, I've been through that before with the Patriots, and many times they did come through and make it to the Super Bowl again, or at least a conference championship. But, there were a few, disappointing losses along the way. They didn't win every single playoff game. They won a lot of them from 2001 to 2020. But all good things. This it certainly looks like this could be the Buffalo Bills' year to get to the Super Bowl. But there's a lot of football left to be played. You still got the Ravens out there, who I think are a very good football team. Obviously, you still have the Chiefs, and in the AFC, and then the Steelers are going to be a threat as well. It's going to be really interesting. No one's going to hand anybody anything, despite Josh Allen. I think is going to be the runaway winner now for the MVP. Let's see. Thanks for checking us out here on the Pete Sheppard Show in the Coastal Sports Network video platform. Follow me at Pete Shep on Twitter, X, at Facebook, SR1029thegame.com, IONTB, CSN Florida, Rumble, Kick, Spotify, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and call or text the show 727-858-6650. Matt says, Pete, what is the next move for the Red Sox? Or do they think the big move is enough? No, it's not enough. We had Sean McAdam on yesterday. They need another pitcher. I think they need a legitimate closer, even though Chapman can close, but he's more of a setup guy. I think they need a bullpen help, one more bullpen pitcher, another starting pitcher, and a couple of bats would be nice. So, kind of getting there. I think with Crochet coming in from the White Sox, that is a huge move. That is a legitimate ace, a guy who I believe, if he stays reasonably healthy, will be the starting pitcher in the All-Star game. That's how good I think he is going to be. He was on an awful team last year with the White Sox, but we shall see. All right.
I don't think we should keep it a secret anymore. Listen, everybody, come springtime, I just want to let you guys know there's a reason why Pete lives 2 miles away from the Red Sox camp, because he is trying out this season. He's going to help out the team and get them back to a World Series. So we just wanted to put that out there.
Look, I had trouble, not at JetBlue, but at Hammond Stadium twice with no warm-ups. Trouble throwing out the first pitch, just getting it. I pitched a lot, but I have, obviously I haven't thrown a baseball or a softball in years. Haven't had the opportunity to. So yeah, I'll teach first, how to throw out the first pitch in the game, from the mound. None of this in front of the mound stuff.
By the way, you know what? Coincidentally, I know you're going to move on, but here, I wonder if somehow or another you can get Luna to throw out the first pitch, or at least walk the first pitch.
She's very good at fetch, I'll tell you that. She's very good. She brings her balls back all the time. We throw them in the house all the time, and we have, tile floors and everything, or whatever, what do you call it? Whatever you call our floors. They're very nice. But she skids across the floor with the ball and then brings it back to her, the carpet under the coffee table and everything else. So, yeah, she's very good. Yeah, better than me. There's no question about it. Updated weather forecast for kickoff on the playoff game. So Friday night at South Bend, 30 degrees, 30% chance of snow. That's the Indiana-Notre Dame game. State College at Penn State on Saturday, 25 degrees, partly sunny. In Austin, Texas, 60 degrees, mostly sunny. And in Columbus, Ohio, 25 degrees and mostly cloudy. So there is your little playoff update. By the way, Mike Evans needs 251 receiving yards to reach 1,000 receiving yards in 11 consecutive seasons, which would tie Jerry Rice's all-time record. The Buccaneers' final 3 games of the year at Dallas, which they're going to blow them out. Home against the Panthers, which they should beat them easily, and home versus the Saints. So that the Buccaneers, barring any really major mess-ups, they should win out here their last 3 and hang on and win the NFC South. Just an unbelievable turnaround for them as well. All right, Angel, we promised to tease going into the show a couple of videos before we have Jay Flanley come on at the bottom of the hour. There's actually 3 I want to play. Actually, let's play the first one. This is a funny one. Right underneath it, if you can refresh, I just tweeted it. We all know about the drone problem, especially in the Northeast. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Stephen A., if you remember the movie Alien, not Alien, Independence Day. Remember, you wake up, Will Smith looks out the window as a gigantic flying saucer, and they're positioned all over the world, and hell breaks loose. Stephen A. Is worried about that situation.
Oh boy,
that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
They might need to fly some more planes over here.
That's right. And these damn drones. Let me tell you, these damn drones in New York City.
Don't get me scared. That stuff gives me anxiety.
The United States government, get it together. Get it together. There's drones flying over people's houses in Jersey and New York. I saw Independence Day, damn it. I ain't underestimating none of that stuff. Figure it out.
That's pretty
How's
bad.
Rich feeling about that? Rich lives in New Jersey. Rich Quinones, the Q. You hear him on the drive 3. He must have talked to. I listened to all the shows from time to time, but I can't listen to everything. He must have brought that up, right, Angel?
Yeah, he brought it up yesterday. We had mentioned even Friday. I think Friday was a bigger day. We ended up talking about it. Then he listen. I said what I had to say about it. He doesn't like it for sure. That what the heck is going on? Why is no one saying anything? And he kind of left it at that. But it makes everybody wonder who knows and who's not talking.
It does. All right, we will talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. And if we could scroll down from Get Up yesterday, as I said, Damon Woody, Rex Ryan, and Teddy Bruschi talking about the Eagles being the best team in the NFL. Agree or disagree? Here are the boys yesterday discussing it.
Team is ridiculous how good they are. By the way, the best part of their team is on the other side of the ball.
Is their defense. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFL, D. Wood?
Yes, they're the best team right now. Number one, they're the healthiest, so it pays to be healthy at this time of year. But they're loaded all over the place. And Rex is right. Defensively, I mean, listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers had like one explosive play in the passing game. They had 0 explosive runs. Okay, so as much as we want to talk about, Philadelphia in the passing game, how about the Philadelphia Eagles defense and how they just completely dismantle the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, who, oh, by the way, have been kind of getting cranked up over the past month or so. So, listen, this is a complete team, and they're going to be they're a wagon. They're going to be tough for anyone to beat.
I still think it's Buffalo. I like Buffalo as the best team in the league right now in terms of Josh Allen making – how does Josh Allen make that offense play then?
This team is ridiculous how good they are. By the way, the best part of their team?
Yeah. Sorry. So there you have it. Yeah, and I agree with a lot of what they said. But I'm telling you right now, nothing is going to be handed to anybody, whether it's Buffalo or Philadelphia, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the rise, and there ain't nobody that's going to want to play them. Probably the Rams might be in a little bit of a situation, too. No one's going to want to play them either if they get in. But Tampa is going to be tough, and the Minnesota Vikings, do not discount that team at all as well. They might have to go on the road, but we'll see. They got to play Detroit at the end of the season. They could still end up with the number 1 seed. The road to the NFC could still go through Minnesota. It could go through Philadelphia. It could go through Detroit. One of those 3 teams. The road is going to go through them, and the other 2, not Philadelphia, because they'll win the division. They'll get a home game. There's no doubt about that. But if Minnesota loses out to Detroit or Detroit loses out to Minnesota, one of those 2 teams is going to be on the road as a 6 or a 7 seed. That's the way it's going to be. Or 5, 6, or a 7 team. That's the way it's going to be. So we shall see. But there's a lot of football left to be played. All right. Also, as promised, before Jay Flanley joins me at the bottom of the hour, Christopher Mad Dog Russo. It's right underneath the Sports Center soccer thing. Couple of minutes of Mad Dog Russo going nuts on the NFL, Netflix, and Christmas. And let me say, I disagree with almost everything he says, but it's entertaining nevertheless, and I'll give you my reasons. Here's Mad Dog on He Hates Everything.
That's a disaster. And did you see week 17? Did you see week 17? I mean, week 17, they got to put, first off, they put the 2 games on Christmas. So it's at Netflix, as we discussed forever. Who the hell can watch an NFL game on Christmas Day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? I can't. And I hate Christmas, but I can't. At 1 o'clock on Christmas Day, it's Kansas City and Pittsburgh. What, am I going to stick the television set on at 1 o'clock? Sorry, hon, I'll see you later. Open up your gifts. Good night. I can't do that. So Kansas City, Pittsburgh is at 1, and Baltimore at Houston is at 4:30, and those are Netflix games. We got to make sure Netflix, some dope in Pakistan, can watch this football game. So that's why they're on earlier in the day, because the time difference makes it a little more conceivable, because now Mahomes is at 9 o'clock and the West is in Europe. So if you live in Paris and you can't get enough of Patrick Mahomes or you're dying to see him, you got to get a break on Christmas night. Have your little French dinner, have your 6 bottles of wine, and watch Mahomes at 7 o'clock, 6-hour time difference. So you can watch the game there, but we can't watch the game here. I mean, it's ridiculous. All for a couple of bucks. And Netflix, I'm surprised they didn't find Ed Coleman. I mean, Netflix with their lineup, oh my God, they got everybody they got 9 billion people in the broadcast booth. Whether it's the pregame show and everything. Half of them ESPN, half of them been fired by ESPN. I mean, it's absurd. Call me, I might go. What did you call me? I mean, my God, they got 50 million people doing Drew Brees. He collapsed. RG3, they got rid of RG3. I mean, they got 1,000 people on Christmas. I mean, we don't need 30 people with the pregame show. My God Almighty, put the game on at 1 o'clock, and that's the end of it.
Okay, here's why he's full of shit for a lot of reasons. One, it'll be highly rare. By the way, by 1 o'clock on Christmas, most people, I mean, unless you're going out, I mean, Christmas Eve is always a much bigger night for me and always has been than Christmas Day. Let me tell you, by Christmas Day, and usually the Celtics were playing on Christmas Day. It was all about that. Then after the game, a bunch of us used to go to the movies. I mean, movie theaters clean up, or used to anyway, on Christmas Day. Because by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you want to you're tired of your family on the whole. You've opened up all your presents. You played with toys, or you play with the gadgets that you got as adults, whatever. And you want to get the hell out. I mean, true or false? I mean, you want to get... And Chris, by the way, noontime on Christmas Day, Knicks at Madison Square Garden against the Spurs. Knicks always play on Christmas Day, and they always play early. The Celtics play the Sixers at 5 o'clock at night. I can't wait for that. As well, you got the Mavericks at the Timberwolves at 2:30. You got the Warriors hosting the Lakers at 8 o'clock. And then you got the Suns and the Nuggets at 10:30. And then sandwiched in between is the football games on Netflix. So I don't know, Chris, what you're talking about, because Christmas Day has always been a sports-filled day. Usually, and there's probably a bowl game there too, somewhere along the way. It usually happened that... you'd have at the very least the NBA, and a lot of sometimes the NHL playing on Christmas Day. So I don't know why his panties are in a bunch over Netflix having a couple of football games. I welcome it. On Christmas Day. It gives us it's something to watch. Otherwise, I mean, again, we're lucky down here in Southwest Florida. We can, it's going to be a beautiful day, more than likely, and the temperature in the 60s and 70s, so we can, go outside and walk around. But a lot of people in the Northeast and the Midwest, the movie theaters clean up on Christmas Day. They clean up. That's why they're open all day. They make a shitload of money. I can't tell you how many times in my life I've gone to the movies on Christmas Day. Usually late afternoon, sometimes early evening. Everybody's got usually when you're a kid, you're in school, you get that week off. Right, Angel? I mean, you must have done that before.
Oh, yeah. You kidding me? The kids down here in Florida are spoiled. Let me say that much, because you get the entire week of Thanksgiving off. We used to just get that Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but we would get, depending. So because of the way the holiday falls this year, then we would up north. You would get almost about 2 weeks pretty much off, because the second is on a Thursday, and it made no sense for them to bring you back Thursday and Friday for the 2 days. But it was nice when you get that time off. It's great. But yeah, I don't know what he's talking about either, because everybody looks forward to on the Christmas games. It's just been like that for years. So for him to complain about, like, oh, I don't understand this, what is Netflix doing, and blah, 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 then apparently you're not tuned in or you don't care, one or the two. I think it's fine. And by the way, you mentioned that the Celtics are playing the Sixers. Yeah. The Celtics are playing the Celtics. They're just playing our B squad. That's it. So.
Hey, your B squad did well last night. Paul George had a whole bunch of points, and you guys won. We'll actually do real quick. We do, but I'm looking back on Christmas Day here. Chiefs at the Steelers, 1:00, obviously on Netflix, and then the Ravens at the Texans. Two very good games, by the way, at 4:30. And then the 26th on Thursday night, you got Seahawks at the Bears. And then, then you got the whole slate of games, and they're all flexible on December 29th, that Sunday, including my Patriots hosting the Chargers, which could be another game that's moved to 4:25, depending on where the Chargers are at that time. Let's see. The Bills are hosting the Jets that weekend on the 29th. The Buccaneers are hosting the Panthers that weekend. And Miami's at Cleveland. Oh, my God, that's getting flexed out. That's an 8:20. That's a Sunday night game. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The Lions with the 49ers on Monday night. Where are your Eagles? Where are your Eagles that week? Why are they not on this? Oh, there they are. Oh, you host Dallas. Oh, there's a win at 4:25. So that's a good weekend for you. Besides losing to the Celtics on Christmas Day, you're looking good in Philadelphia.
I see.
I'm just kidding. All right, while we're at it here, before we get to Jay, let's do an NBA and NHL rundown as well. Toronto and Chicago had a nail biter last night. Chicago won 122 to 121. The Philadelphia 76ers, as I said, clobbered Charlotte 121 to 108. Detroit and Miami came right down to the wire.
Fouling if they want to. They inbound to Jimmy Butler. The hero rises and fires and fills it up. Wow.
Yeah, that was the tying three-pointer. It made it 114 to 114 in that ball game. But here is how it ended.
Douglas Jimmy Butler. Cade to the basket. Hooks on the run. He hits it.
And the Pistons beat Miami 125 to 124. Cleveland clobbered Brooklyn 130 to 101. Sacramento and Denver had a thriller going as well.
At the buzzer, Murray back to Jokic. Jokic hand off to Murray. Murray pulls the trigger.
Yes, they did. They won 130 to 129. Sacramento missed the game-winning shot at the buzzer as well. The Clippers clobbered Utah 144 to 107. In the NHL last night, Dallas over Washington 3-1, and the Florida Panthers over Edmonton in the thriller.
Played it ahead. Schmidt on the loose puck. Closing it on 7 minutes to go. Panthers led 2-1. Oilers led 4-2. Panthers led 5-4. Bennett's trying to give them the lead again. It's Verhaeghe. Yes, sir! And the Panthers are up 6-5. The Bennett line.
The Panthers, look at Mikkola. Return pass to Bennett. Verhaeghe gets into some open ice. And it wasn't on his stick very long before he lifts it over. Again, Stuart Skinner going down. And that upper part of the net is wide open.
Vancouver also beat Colorado 3-1. There's your NBA and NHL rundown. We'll take a quick local break here a second, Angel. Just the our wonderful sponsors. But I do want to tell you about another wonderful sponsor, Phil Castanetti Sports World in Saugus, Massachusetts, New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia. For over 35 years, Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles. Right now going on at Sports World, loaded with mystery boxes, jerseys, baseballs, mini sticks, pucks. They're all wrapped and ready to go. So great Christmas presents right there, holiday presents. Get to Phil Castanetti Sports World coming up at Sports World at 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call them as well at 781-233-7222 for more information. 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus. Be there. Jay Flannery from Beavs World is in Ann Arbor. We'll talk some college football with him coming up next here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Jimmy the Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our second location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu. Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Jardiniere.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
For the best in college football and NFL talk, check out The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Played it ahead. Schmidt on the loose puck.
That's not what I wanted, damn it. Hang on a second. What the hell happened? Hold on. We're going to reset here. That's not the cut that I wanted. What did I do? Okay, here we go. All right, hang on. Pretend we're coming back from break again. You ready? Let's do that whole thing again.
For the best in college football and NFL talk, check out The Pete Sheppard Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday.
Old hat for old Bill Belichick and Lombardi. All these college coaches. Man, this new world is crazy. I got to talk to him. We got to negotiate. We don't know how much money we have. And then Bill and Lombardi already have the entire thing. All right, we can't pay that much money to that position. We just can't do that. So then the conversations, especially with agents that you already know from the NFL, you can say, listen, Dave, we're not doing that. You know we're not going to do that. But what you do know is long term, he gets in here, we're going to build, that's an interesting recruiting situation.
Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here. Pat McAfee talking about Bill Belichick and being able to recruit at North Carolina. I think it is going to be such a unique situation, as I've said, because Bill is the only one that could do this, reversing the process. He does not have to go bar hopping or plane hopping or house to house, hut to hut, condo to condo, and break bread with some of these guys. They are all going to come to him. It's going to be very, very easy. It is a unique process. He's the only one that could get away with it. As I said, a guy like Kirby Smart, go to Oklahoma and maybe have some of that, follow a coach here, and I get all that. But this is a completely unique situation, and the SEC snot rag people out there cannot handle it. And to a degree, some of the Big Ten people, not my man Jay Flannelly, but others. Jay Flannelly from Beeves World, welcome once again to the program. Back for your usual Tuesday visit as opposed to Mondays. How you doing? How things in Ann Arbor? Is it snowing?
No, Pete, we got a little snow over the weekend, but it all melted. We had a heat wave yesterday. It was like 50 degrees and a lot of rain. You know this. You and I grew up in New England. The weather, if you don't like the weather, stick around for an hour. It'll change. It's like that in Michigan. We got the oceans in New England. We got the Great Lakes here. You watch a Chicago Bears game, a Buffalo Bills game. They get all the crazy lake effect snow and everything. We get all that here, and it's nuts. You go further up north where Kathy is from, my business partner, when she lives, and her son lives in her old hometown. He got like 60 inches of snow in like 3 days a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
The weather's crazy. But, yeah, my dad's smart. He lives down by you. He just went to Australia for 3 weeks for Christmas. So there you go.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Well, that's away from me, so he clearly planned that. So there you go. So it's a good thing. You made a really good. Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead, talk.
No, go ahead. You finish. You was about to say how great I am.
You are. Well, you are great, but you made a great point about what Bill's doing. And let me explain this. This is for everybody, but as far as him being a general manager, having an exposure with salary cap, obviously huge advantage. Bringing Lombardi, you've mentioned all those things.
Yep.
But the transfer portal is different than regular recruiting. Regular recruiting, you're doing more. You were joking about with Kirby Smart having to sit in the house and schmooze mom and dad and like the meatloaf and all that.
Yeah.
The transfer portal is get me to the NFL, get me paid. And the big advantage that Bill, and he's already doing it, and we just did it yesterday. Michigan got the biggest small college O-lineman in the country, picked us over Ohio State. And we got the two kids from Arkansas, the two defensive backs. But
got the quarterback.
Bill is bringing in Ivy League guys, small college guys. We did a couple of years ago, we had Josh Wallace from UMass as one of our starting corners. You upgrade guys. A guy who's getting nothing at UMass because they don't have big money and they don't have a big program. He views Michigan as an alternative. A guy at Georgia or Alabama is going to be looking for crazy money to leave or a better opportunity. He might be a pain in the ass. He might not be getting along with his coaches. His coaching changes. You know, the big quarterback from Washington State who just transferred out because his offensive coordinator is now Oklahoma. Guess where he's going? He's going to Oklahoma, supposedly. Yep. There's other ones. Where's the quarterback? The Billy Edwards kid, who Michigan thought we were going to be in on. It looked like he's going to Wisconsin because he's not an idiot. He goes, wow, they got that Bryce Underwood kid coming to Michigan. I don't think I'm going to be playing very long.
Correct.
So that's the thing. Like your guy, Cam Ward, here's another example. He had a lot of big money offers, but he went to a place, he wanted to go to warm weather.
Yep.
Good ability to score points and increase his draft stock, and a name brand. Guess what? 3 for 3. So that's what they're doing. But
and he's going to play in the bowl game along with, it seems like most of the Hurricanes are going to play in the bowl game against Iowa State. It certainly seems that way. I still wish they were playing Alabama and not your boys. I think Michigan would be better. I mean, I think Michigan, Iowa State would be better for me. I think Miami and Alabama would be almost like a playoff game, assuming some of the Alabama players, and most of them, are going to play in this bowl game.
They've had some guys go to the portal.
I think it would be a lot of fun. It'd be a lot more fun. It'd be a lot more fun for the fans around the country.
Yeah, but again, listen, Pete, I'm going to break some news for you here on the Pete Sheppard Show.
Yeah.
This is a business. What sells? Does Alabama and Michigan sell pretty good?
No, I think, but also you get the top offensive in the country and the best quarterback in the country. That sells too. A team that both teams, it would be like the play. These are the first two teams that were eliminated from the college football playoff, and they could have maybe have met in the college football playoff had they played. Now, again, I think most of the Hurricanes are going to play, from what I understand. I don't know about Alabama, but no, don't sell the
guys go to the portal. Wait a second, go to the portal.
Down here, Jay, the Alabama-Michigan game will not sell out at Ray J. I promise you, if Miami was playing there against Alabama, that game would sell out. There'll be tickets available. Yeah. No, maybe not a lot, but the Miami Hurricanes, Jerry went there and played USF, and Angel will tell you, even though he's not here, he's gone for the day, but there were all Hurricane fans there on the whole. Tons of them in that blowout where they scored 50-plus points. So anyway, it's, you know what? It's just, I don't think there's any technically right or wrong answer. I just want to see Miami, Alabama play. Would have been like a playing game for me.
Okay. They devalued the bowl games with the playoffs format they set up. They devalued the bowl games, but the conferences don't care because they offset the money lost with the conference championship games. So it's a whole, again, we're going to talk about the transfer portal and what Penn State's going through with Bo, their backup quarterback, having to leave because of how this stupid thing is set up. Yep. And James Franklin, who I don't have a lot of respect for, did a great job yesterday.
I thought he did too. I just played the cut before you came on. There's a lot of things They got to tweak. And let's get into that. They do have to tweak some of the stuff. It's horrible what happened, Marshall. 29 kids transferring, and you can't play in a bowl game. I mean, there's got to be something. You got to come to some kind of an accord here with the nil and the transfer portal or the transfer portal. You got to stay for the bowl game. You can't leave. There's got to be some stipulation. You can't leave. Right before a bowl game, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, and I don't know. They got to try to fix it.
Well, it's a business, and what's happened, and that's why the Bo kid had to leave Penn State. And God, he's a good player, by the way. Reminds me a lot of JJ McCarthy. And he wears JJ's number. No, this is the whole problem, Pete. You and I have talked about this. They have people that aren't college football people running college football. And that's the whole problem. You know, you and I talk a lot about the old Big East with Mike Tranghese and Dave Gavitt and all those guys that used to run that league. And that's why it was the best league in the country, because they had basketball people running it. And you look at Hockey East with Joe Battaglia was running it for
awesome. Yeah.
So he's an awesome guy, and he knows hockey. So so you have to have people who talk to coaches, who know what's going on. Like somebody like me and you would know, hey, you can't have the transfer portal going on in the middle of the bowl season because players are going to opt out anyways to go to the draft, or they're going to be injured. You're going to be down. We're going to be down like 30 players, Michigan, because of our portal guys and graduations and all of our star players going to the NFL. And I'm sure Alabama has the same problem. I've seen they're having guys go to the portal too. But as far as the transfer portal should be, when the last game of the bowl season is done, which would be the national championship game, you have a 10-day window. But here's the problem, and this is what they'll say. Well, they're going to get into school. They get academics and everything.
That's a lot of bullshit. We all know that. It means nothing. Academics mean nothing. The student slash. It's so ridiculous because when it comes down to, as I've said, it's about money, money, and don't give me this crap about how much they care about these kids' educations. Now, granted, 98% of them are not making it to the NFL. That's fact. I mean, you just 98%. So I get all that, and I think those kids know that, and they value the education. I understand that. But for this show and for most, when I say about people don't care about education, fans don't give a shit. They care about wins. They care about, it's nice that all these wonderful, and they're all good academic institutions. I'm not saying they're not. But I'm talking about from a sports fan standpoint, sports talk show host standpoint. You're talking about, we know the dynamics. 98%, maybe more, are not going to make it to professional sports, okay? We get that. Yeah. But when these guys start talking about student athletes and with some of the top players, it's just a fucking joke. It's laughable. They don't give a crap about the education. A lot of those guys aren't going to be there for 4 years anyway, not even close. And that's not about these top players graduating. This college, the NCAA football is the AAA. It is a NFL football factory. That's what it is. That's why Bill Belichick is going to succeed sooner rather than later. Mark my words. He gets it. And it's the way the system is set up right now.
You are correct. And the other thing, mentioning Belichick, there's a couple things, but I think him going to the ACC is smart. He can come in there and win that and do well in that league. The league is down. Clemson has kind of come back to earth. Florida State's fallen off the face of the earth. And your team is pretty good. But, other than that, there's a lot of teams, if he does a couple smart moves, they've been competitive, going back to when Drake May was there. Hell, 30 years ago when Mac Brown came in, and they got good originally, and they got the Lawrence
This is way
Taylor.
different than that. This is way different than Mac Brown.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm talking about when Mac Brown came in the early 90s, and they got good.
Yeah.
But no, it's you're right. The league is different. College football is different. But again, Michael Jordan, Nike money. He's getting a lot of NIL donors. Belichick, instant credibility. He knows what he has to do. Yes, he will go to these steak dinners where he gets $500,000 for his NIL because he smiles and shakes hands and kisses some babies. He will do that. Yes, he will. They all do it.
Country club membership. He'll go to the governor's house. He'll do all that stuff.
You like it when I give you scoops.
Yeah.
I got a little birdie who is in the scouting circles and follows the NIL, dropped something on me late last night and said, Mr. Beeve, don't be surprised if in Bill Belichick's first game at the UNC Tar Heels, the starting quarterback is Quinn Ewers.
I gave you that last. I told you I was fabricating that. When we talked last week, I started that rumor. Angel's not here to back me up. I started it, and so now I fabricated it, and I want to confirm it. You're sort of confirming it. I am not going to be surprised at all. Actually, I said either Arch Manning or Quinn Ewers, one of those two.
Not Arch.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The thing that started last week, not our version going to UNC. No. Let me finish.
I know.
The UNC thing is partially you and a couple of my scouting friends. But the one that came out like last Friday, and my phone blew up, was Big Ten team, $4 million. I don't think that's us because of the Underwood thing for Ewers to leave. That could, by the way, this could be being leaked by Texas people because they want to move off him and they want Arch to play. It's obvious. And by the way, Ewers isn't that good. But here's the thing. Of the Big Ten teams, the big market teams, Oregon, Washington, because Jed saved his NIL money this year. He didn't spend his NIL money. Jed was smart. He redid his roster, reevaluated, and saved the cash. Jed Fish is the head coach of Washington, one of my buddies, by the way. Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, and Washington, at least, are going to have quarterback things. Now we have a solution. Yep. Ohio State lost 2 more guys in the portal. They're going to have the Jalen Salen kid come in and be great, or they're screwed. The Aaron Bolin kid left the team yesterday. The 5-star quarterback they had, he left. He portaled out. And the other kid portaled out. And obviously Will Howard's gone at the end of the year. Washington, they had the SEC all-time leading passer, the Rogers kid. He's graduating. He's gone. Oregon, we know about Dylan Gabriel. And they got the UCLA kid, Dante Moore's there. I don't know what his status is.
John Mateer's gone from Washington State. He's out. Yeah.
Yep. Well, but he's going to Oklahoma. So that's the worst kept secret in America. By the way, I give him great credit because he could have gone to the real portal and had bags of money thrown at him. He's really good. I mean, I don't know how much you've seen.
139 yards, 29 touchdowns, 65% passing completion, ranks 6th among FBS starters, also with 827 rushing yards and 15 rushing touchdowns. He's going to be excellent for Oklahoma over there.
And we play them in like the second game. Michigan does.
Yeah.
So you and I like to talk about coaches. We talk about Dillingham, the Arizona State coach is great. That Washington State coach is great. And I hate to say it, he needs to get the hell out of there because they're not in the conference. What just happened to him is going to happen every time he develops a player. They're going to take him away. It's not his fault. He and my Beavers, Oregon State, they have no conference affiliation. They're in a different world. They're basically what UMass is. Now that UMass is in the MAC, but what UMass was, and I'm not kidding. So you need to be in a conference. You need to have the TV money. You need to have the TV deal. That's your bank account. Then you add off your NIL. What Dillingham's doing at Arizona State, by the way, is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you need to, he needs to get out of there. And he's a good coach. So Washington
Cam Wharton and John Mateer. I mean, 2 great quarterbacks you develop, and bye-bye.
Yeah. And by the way, he helped them both leave.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's being a dink about it, but I mean it's the reality.
I want to get to something you just said, which is an excellent, I think, topic, and I've been saying this for years. And you may think people might think I'm overreacting here. I don't know why UMass continues to play Division I football, drop back down to FCS. And I know they're going to get more TV money because they're going to the MAC. That program is a disgrace. And I don't know how so far it hasn't bankrupted the entire athletic budget, because if you don't have a decent Division I football team, you can bankrupt your entire athletic budget. I bring up Temple all the time, how they lost. Temple was sort of come back a little bit. I mean, they did, and then now they suck again. But they lost a baseball team and a few other men and women's teams. I don't know how, and I still wonder in the back of my mind is because of the suckiness of the UMass football team, how bad it has been at the bottom of the NCAA for years now, how they're going to rebound, and how that does affect some of the other state schools as well. I think it's an interesting scenario. That program is a joke. It's a fucking joke. And I mean, to not even be remotely competitive, they stink. They got to be one of the top 3 worst programs in the country. It's ridiculous and it's embarrassing.
So, Pete, thank you for handing me a layup. I'm sure you're aware. Guess who's been a friend of mine for about 35 years? Don Brown.
I know. We've talked about this.
So, yeah, and Deborah, his wife, who's a saint.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. They will be helped by joining the MAC, and let me explain that. You and I
Not if
talked
they
about
suck the way they have. They're not. They're going to be Eastern Michigan.
No, but Pete, they had their own TV contract with ESPN, which I think they were getting like $5 million. By the way, for the whole, all their games were on ESPN Plus. You could watch every UMass game, and believe it or not, I watched most of them. That's why I have no hair. The MAC TV deal is better. They'll get more exposure. Because remember, we've talked about MAC action. They're on like Tuesday night, Thursday night. So it's better for them. This is like John Calipari taking over UMass basketball.
It is not. John Calipari had a rep. Who's taking over the UMass program? Who's coaching?
Did you see who their new coach is? Isn't he the guy from UNH?
No, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit because I've heard that for 20 years, how good or bad they're going to be. The last time they were good was when they were an FCS team.
Mark Whipple and Don were there, yep.
Yeah, and they sucked. They both sucked.
After they left. I know. They don't spend – listen, it's like you just said. They don't invest and spend money. You're probably right, but I'm just telling you from the business model, if they get the internal things right, they get the right coach, the MAC will help them. But I tend to agree with you.
Why would you want to coach there? Well, unless you're like some 25 or 30-year-old, why the hell would you go to coach there? I mean, it's ridiculous. Their only win was against Central Connecticut and Wagner, an FCS school. The rest of the games, besides Liberty, they got humiliated. Georgia took the day off or half the day off. You know,
Texas A&M was another one they played. They played somebody. Their schedule was like they played like Genghis Khan, Hitler, and Napoleon. It was insane. Their schedule.
Well, some of it, but then they lost to a bunch of MAC teams. They lose 28-14 to Eastern Michigan. They lose to Buffalo 34-3, Toledo 38-23. Oh, they got to overtime with Miami of Ohio.
Those are all the teams they'll be playing now.
Northern Illinois, they lost that. I mean, they got creamed again. They played Missouri, obviously. They beat Wagner. Mississippi State, I get it. Liberty. I mean, why would you want to coach? Why would you want to coach this team? They even lost to fucking UConn, 47-42, and that's another team that has been disgraceful, really, in football for the last several years. Why? Unless you're some hot shot from the FCS and it's the only job you can get, why am I going to go coach at UMass? What help am I going to get over there?
A really good culinary school. I mean, I don't know, people.
I'm not saying be I'm not saying be Alabama. I'm saying be somewhat competitive and not humiliated. This has been the worst program, or one of the top 3 worst in the country for the last 5 years, maybe more. I can't keep track of all the losses. How do you fix it without bankrupting? You don't think those other teams over at UMass and Amherst are worried every day that their program is going to get dropped, men and women's? Because if you can't have a functional Division I football team, you're fucked.
They got the worst facility in the country, too, by the way. That's part of the problem.
Yeah. When they upgrade, and that's been upgraded recently too. Not too long ago.
Imagine what it used to look like. But it's sad, and I love Don, and I didn't like how they handled that, but I don't think Don was the problem, as you just said. And how about not scheduling Georgia? That would be a good idea.
They need the money. They need the money. Same thing with Missouri. They need the money. I mean,
that's also what hookers say. I'm
wondering where this money gets back and where does it go invested back into the team, and where are the UMass boosters? The UMass boosters are invisible. I mean, they obviously don't give it. They don't care. They don't care. You can't be this bad in Division I football for that long a time and have boosters that you actually think give a shit. They don't care. They don't care. And if that's the case, you'll never go back. Drop down to FCS. Drop down.
No, I tend to agree with you, but there's a couple other parts to this. I haven't noticed. UMass basketball is still fairly competitive. Are they pretty good?
Not really. They're okay. They just lost to UMass. No, I think they're. I don't think if you're talking about getting to be a tournament team, no, not absolutely not. They're not even. They're probably
like a competitive team in the Atlantic 10.
I'm not sure if Boston. I'd go seriously in the state. I would put UMass Lowell maybe as the best team in Massachusetts going up against then BC. And Northeastern might be better than UMass. I'm looking at the standings right now. UMass is 4-7 on the year. They haven't played an A10 game yet. They're 3-3 at home and 1-1 on the road. And let's see. So far, they won against New Hampshire, which is America East team, 105-74, and they've lost to West Virginia. Got clobbered. Well, they lost by 9. They lost at home against Louisiana Tech. They lost at home to Hofstra. They lost at home to Temple. They lost at home to Florida State. They did beat Harvard 62-54.
Beat Harvard.
They lost to Central Connecticut. They've lost to UMass Lowell, and they did beat UMass Boston, with Division III school. So they got Northeastern coming up, and then home against Arizona State. I mean, it's just. I don't know. Their attendance sucks. Who goes to those games anymore? I mean, who goes? I feel bad for the kids that go to that school. You got Division I football and basketball, and both teams stink.
Bring back Bruiser Flint. So no, and remember Bruiser was awesome.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing, and their hockey team is awesome. UMass.
Hockey team is excellent.
Cal McCarr and all the guys who've had those couple years.
But that doesn't generate money, and I'm as big a hockey East fan as there is, and I support all the hockey teams. But hockey does not. If you don't have a functional D1 football team, and you're a D1 school, or maybe some of the D1 basketball schools, you can get away with it. But you have both, and they both suck. Your academic budget stinks. I mean, your athletic budget stinks, and I still fear. If I'm on any of those programs, I fear every day I'm going to wake up in Amherst and go, do we even have a team? Because eventually it will catch up with you. It will catch up with you.
Yeah, they're teams that I know are really good. The women's lacrosse team is awesome. The hockey team is awesome. I don't know much about all their other sports, but those are the two.
But that's not the point, though, Jay. The point is, if you don't have a functional football team and a basketball team in Division I, you are screwed. The rest of it is irrelevant. Every other sport in the country, not just at UMass, every other sport, with the exception maybe of some college baseball teams around the SEC, and they make a little bit of money. The rest of it, you are the tens of millions of dollars that are invested into these programs all lose money except for football and basketball. And they get away with it around the country. All these schools, I'm talking about D1 schools here. All these D1 schools in the Power 4 conferences all lose tens of millions of dollars in the other sports. But it is all made up and profitable because of the football and basketball contracts that they have. And without that, you don't have an athletic budget in a lot of these schools. You can't afford the teams. You can't fly the Northern Illinois golf team over to UCLA and think that's going to make money. I mean, but that's what happens, and you're doing that with men and women's sports. People don't think of secondary sports, the swim teams, the outdoor and indoor track teams, the polo teams, all of that stuff. There's tons of millions of dollars of wasted money. Not for the kids, great for the kids and the experience in the athletic competition. Yeah. But there's no revenue, zero. I mean, none. Nobody makes money off college golf. You know,
the bookies. I'm kidding.
I know. You know what's funny? I have a friend of mine, my nephew-in-law. I just found out yesterday. I'll just call him Steve. I found out he's making a shitload of money on FanDuel, and guess what sport? Table tennis. Now I always see it on the Hard Rock app down here in Florida. But to
Yeah.
make money on table tennis,
Table tennis?
with this ping pong, it's just a fancy.
I got you. Of course, yeah. What is that, Pete? What is that on? Like DraftKings channel? How do you watch it? Is it like highlight?
I don't know. There are some crazy sports channels that are. I don't know who watches ping pong other than the Olympics or Forrest Gump. If you want to watch the movie,
Sure. Is it on ESPN Plus?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's like, those little European stations that I get on YouTube TV that way down the bottom at the very end that you would never look into. Maybe
Like
it's
the
on that.
Telemundo soccer channels and all that. Yeah, I got you.
But those would be even. But and a lot of it is from Asia. I mean, you got to be up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning watching that stuff. Hey, can you hang on?
I don't know if you got the memo. Yeah.
Can you hang on for a few more minutes?
For you, no. Yes, of course, Pete. Come on, man.
All right. Actually, we'll just keep going. I don't need to take a break. I'll take it. We'll take a break in about 10, 15 minutes. And then I got Patrick Gilroy at the bottom of the hour coming up here. So, again, well, let's get into coming up this weekend. Despite, last thing, as Bill Belichick, we talking about earlier, Bryce Baker is sticking with the North Carolina Tar Heels. It looked like before Bill got there that he might transport or might leave or flip. But, quote, with Belichick's experience and connections, he can set my teammates and I up to surpass our goals and more. That statement right there, along with Bill's statement about a pipeline to the NFL, are going to be huge. There's a lot of players like Bryce Baker who are going to feel the same way.
Hey, Pete. Mac Jones is on line 2. He wants to talk. I'm kidding.
UMass. That'd be something at least.
You know what? I don't know if you saw it. Mac actually played pretty well in the Jets game the other day. I watched a lot of that. Because I clearly have no life, but yeah, I watched.
You know why? He always plays well. You know what his record is against the Jets? It was 6-0 until that. But he played. Yeah, he was never lost to the Jets up until that point. He was 6-0 with the Patriots.
By the way, before we move on, I want to, because you were talking about the money and the finances of college sports. Kathy, my business partner, she made a really good point with me during football season this year. You know what? A team that makes a lot of money in sports and college sports. It's one of the few that's profitable every year. Is the Nebraska women's volleyball team.
Oh yeah,
remember
right. Yep,
they played the game at Cornhusker Stadium.
Yeah, they just played in the championship again against Wisconsin, didn't they? I think. Yeah, they do. They're a team. They're revenue generating.
The Big Ten is awesome in women's volleyball. The Big Ten is awesome in women's volleyball.
Absolutely, Penn State's always been good.
I mean, they're all good.
UMass is a good volleyball team too. But again, we're talking about.
By the way, we gotta give a shout out to one of our New England brothers.
I said I led the show with it, Vermont.
Vermont soccer team.
I led with it. In
Unbelievable!
First national championship ever.
Center back will blast it long and ask Kissel to
get a maple syrup for those guys.
He does! Getting with the national championship! 1v1 against Yannick! Oh my gosh, they do it! Don't call them Cinderella! You can call them national champs! For the first time ever!
Great goal, too.
And you know what I love about college soccer like that? I wasn't aware that the overtime, there's no shootout, no penalty kicks.
Yeah.
Spread out, that's how it should be.
They play five overtimes they need to, yeah.
Yeah. No question about it. That was great. Yeah. So first, congratulations to Vermont Catamounts for their
kid's got all the maple syrup he wants for the rest of his life.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward. Well, we got the Frisco Bowl tonight. I'm not sure how many players, regular players, are in this game tonight between Memphis and West Virginia and Frisco, Texas. But it's college football. I'm sure I'll be watching. The NBA Cup is on tonight, which I'll tune in for about 2 seconds. Just have no interest in it.
2 seconds more than it deserves, Pete. Good job.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in Vegas. But looking forward, starting on Friday night, I'm past my pissed offness about Miami and somewhat Alabama not getting in. But now I'm just focused on, I just want to see some good football games. Could be about a 30% chance of snow coming up Friday night in South Bend between Indiana and Notre Dame. I don't know how, unless Notre Dame really shoots itself in the foot or reverts back to how they played against Northern Illinois. I don't know how they don't clobber this team by 20 points. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be betting Notre Dame, but I'll be somewhat rooting for Indiana. If they could ever pull off that upset, it would be something. But I I just don't see it because I don't think Indiana deserves to be there number one. They beat nobody this year, except for a Michigan team that was not at its best. We can honestly say that. And the only other good team they played was Ohio State. In the second half, they got clobbered. So, and Notre Dame's been on a roll. I see no reason why they shouldn't blow the smithereens off the Hoosiers.
No, I tend to agree with you. But in defense of Indiana, the schedule is already made and predetermined.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that.
Not their fault. Nebraska and other
I
teams
think it's an excellent coach. Nor is it Miami's fault for what they didn't get to play Clemson or
Florida State.
I mean, they beat Florida State. They clobbered them.
Well, Florida State had a terrible year. I mean,
but they didn't get to play Clemson this year, and they did not get to play Memphis. They didn't get to play them. I understand.
In reality, tell me who's the best team Notre Dame beat?
Army. I think Notre Dame.
I think Notre Dame's good too, but I mean, it's hard to evaluate. This isn't the '88 Tony Rice team that beat everybody. They beat like 7 conference champions that year. Beat West Virginia in a national championship game. But no, I think a lot of your points about Indiana are right. And then you look at the other games. I think
they won at College Station early in the season. That's big. So that was big. That was a big win. It's College Station, 23-13. The Northern Illinois loss in week 2, which nobody seems to care about anymore.
Count as 2 losses, but
Louisville gave them a great game. Louisville almost beat them. They won 31-24. Louisville was a very underrated team all year. They beat Navy when they were 24th. They clobbered them. Florida State, they clobbered them. They clobbered Virginia. They clobbered Army. And, they beat USC by 14, but it felt like they were up by 40 in that game. So,
Most underreported thing, Pete, that happened this weekend that I don't think is getting enough talk is Marcus Freeman just got a big extension.
Yep.
Almost like Notre Dame is concerned that somebody might call him when they make a coaching change. Oh, I don't know, say Ohio State. I'm just saying randomly. Because Ryan Day, if you didn't see it, just went on the Columbus and Ohio State media and said, "Oh, the Michigan game was just another game."
But I'll tell you who else.
Way to get fired, by the way. So,
I think Notre Dame was more worried about another team as well.
Bears.
The Bears. That's right. And after Thomas Brown and that debacle of a horrific game by the Bears last night, they shoot themselves in the foot worse than the Patriots at times. That was terrible. You got when you have Doug Kramer, who's supposed to, how is that not drilled into your head all week? You got to report as an eligible receiver and you're playing fullback. I mean, that has to be drilled.
The Lions lost the game last year because of this nonsense. So
That's right. They brought it up.
Dan Skipper.
They brought it up on the broadcast last night.
And by the way, he got a touchdown in the game Sunday, the Lions game.
Yeah.
So I'm excited though because I've been on here with you for at least half an hour, and I'm in Michigan, and I'm a Lions guy, and I haven't been injured, so that's a good thing. So,
well, here's the thing with the Lions, it's going to be really interesting with the Vikings right on their tails, and obviously Philadelphia playing the way they are, which is just fantastic football. And the Eagles, I think, have the advantage right now in the NFC, mainly because they are one of the most reasonably healthy teams in the league, number one. They got the number one defense, and they seemed to have solved their problems, and I thought they would. I knew there was an issue, obviously, when you had Grant come out last week and say what he said. But I said it was going to galvanize the team, and I'm not surprised at all. I said, we'll know a lot in the first few minutes of the first quarter, and we did because Hurts and A.J. Brown had great symmetry going, and they have that the rest of the way, despite what many of us think about Sirianni. If he does not get in the way of this team, they will have a great shot to get to the Super Bowl. But it will not be easy, nor should it be easy. You still got the Lions that are very good, the Vikings, and my boys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I said it when they were 4-6. I said it when they were 4-6. They would not lose again, and they are on a roll. And I don't think they're going to lose again. They got Dallas, Carolina, and New Orleans. Carolina, New Orleans at home, at Dallas, where everybody wins by 40, and Carolina, New Orleans at home. And that should close out. They should close out the season and win the NFC South, and they'll be hosting a playoff game. That is a team that nobody is going to want to play.
No, you're right. And good job by Coach Bowles and Baker and the rest of the players. And Mike Evans is pretty good, by the way.
Well, that's one of the reasons why as soon as he came back and some other guys, they got reasonably healthy. I mean, he's phenomenal.
Oh, he's such a good player. They need Antoine Winfield to get healthy. I know he's hurt again.
Yeah.
So, Pete, the thing with the Lions, I just want to give some numbers to people. They have 22 players on IR.
Yeah.
19 of them are from defense.
It's only so much you can overcome with that. It's only so much.
Actually, I'm sorry, they have 26 guys now,
Mm-hmm.
and 19 of them are from their defense. And these are their two kick returners are on IR. Dorsey's the kid who broke his leg in the game Sunday. Obviously, Aiden Hutchinson's the best player on the team. He's out for the year.
Yep.
The running back who just got hurt is an all-pro, Pro Bowl level player. Their whole defensive line's out. It's just insane. I've never seen like in my life. But, Dan will get the boys ready to go. They'll go into Chicago, and they'll play that corpse of a team and see what we can do. But it's nuts to think about all this and see where it's at. But we were just talking about Freeman and Belichick earlier, Pete.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be really interesting to see here is, and you and I can talk about this with the NIL and the portal changing, whether it's easier being an NFL head coach. It used to be the answer was the NFL head coach was easier than being a college coach. I don't know if that's true anymore because of the NIL and the portal where guys are calling your players all the time. And in the NFL, you get about 5 weeks off all year. You got the portion in July to training camp, and then rest of the year you're busy. You get about a week in like March that you're off. But other than that, busy all year round. College, as somebody worked in a high-level college program for 6 years, there's never a dull moment. I mean, literally,
I agree.
This guy got arrested. This guy's academically ineligible. This guy misses his mama. He wants to go home. He wants a bag of money.
Hamburger before nil. Yeah, an illegal hamburger.
Yeah. See, okay.
Well, I'm not talking about. I just bring. That was not a Michigan shot. I'm just bringing that up. That's.
Well, I know. I know. But that whole thing was stupid.
Yeah,
that is stupid. But and Jim was stupid for how he handled it. But he's no longer my problem. But no, it is what it is, and
you're like the cleaner.
Right,
you just fix bad situations. You're like the cleaner.
Well, what you say might be closer to reality than people think. Unfortunately,
I know.
You figured it out. Figured it out, Pete. You're a sharp guy from Rhode Island. But no, it's the I'm the fixer.
Yeah, your phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning. Your phone rings at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It can never be good.
Again, the Beebs hotline.
I see everything.
You're right. I know. You should see. If I really could tell stories of what I deal with, Kathy is dying watching you doing this to me right now because this is really what happens. But it's. Here she is, but it's
get her on here.
It's nuts.
Can Kathy come on?
Yeah, it is. We'll get her on. You just are summing her right now. We'll get her to come on with us one time at least.
All right, yeah, because I want to hear. I want to hear behind the scenes with Jay.
It's a legal foundation, so she's got a real job and she's married. Her husband is a Sparty, which is funny. So it's pretty funny. They brawl during football season. But in basketball, Michigan State really doesn't have a football team anymore. But you know what bowl Michigan State's playing in?
Yeah,
no bowl.
No bowl.
There you go.
Hey, how about the disrespect in the Pop-Tart Bowl by not putting the brown sugar frosting? Did you see what they did in the Pop-Tart Bowl where Miami's going to play Iowa State in Orlando? They brought this big Pop-Tart thing. It's a toast, actually a real toaster. But people on ESPN, some were outraged, and I can't blame them. Outraged about the cinnamon brownie or the cinnamon brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart was left off. That's insane.
It's the best one.
It is the best one. And I haven't had one of those in years.
I haven't had one in like 35 years. So, I mean, it's like, even you and I know that. We're old. But, I mean, it's okay, so quick, Pete, before I go.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on with the Patriots? Mayo might be in trouble because of his mouth.
Well, I think they're all in trouble. I went yesterday. I don't know if you heard. If you go back to yesterday's show, at about 22 minutes in, go to yesterday's show on Facebook and listen to what I did. I had a great montage of everybody who I think needs to leave, including there were exactly 3 players, and I was being kind, and 1, 4, 6 coaches. If you go back and listen to it, you'll crack up. And I give my reasons and every one of them.
The three players, is Duggar one of them?
No, I went mostly offensive line. I could have gone. Duggar was but Duggar would have been on my backup list. I only had a short amount of time during the segment. So I went Badarian Love, who I can't believe is still on the team, the 59. I went through their number and where they went to college. So I said, coming in, my first, you'll hear it. It's very funny. So I got Lowe gone, the left tackle. Ben Brown, who can't snap it from here to there without hitting the ground. He should be gone.
You snap the ball if you're a center.
Layden Robinson, the left end. I mean, it was so pathetic. I think their worst loss of the year. And I feel so bad for Drake May. I think Mayo's going to be gone. I think, the thing about Van Pelt and not doing the quarterback sneaks and everything, it makes absolutely no sense. Covington is a joke as a defensive coordinator. They make no adjustments. The only one that's been good consistently has been Gonzalez, who was great on Marvin Harrison Jr. the other day. That's about it. That's the only positive I come up with besides Drake May keeping his composure and making some really nice throws. I know a lot of it was in garbage time, but nevertheless, again, you can't – that interception, which shouldn't be an interception because Booty should have caught the ball. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous stuff. They're always in second and third and long because after Drake May will make a play, there's either a hold or a false start or something, and all of a sudden it turns into a 15-yard gain. They end up 2nd and 20, and then it's a disaster. And then our offense coordinator will, do the 28 toss 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage with the worst offensive line in football trying to block for that. It's the whole thing is dopey.
Yeah, they have to reset their whole team.
I want Ben Johnson and I want Brian Flores back. I want Ben Johnson and go pillage the Vikings for Brian Flores. That's what I want.
Okay. Well, why would Ben Johnson leave the Lions to go to the Patriots?
Well, money. Be a head coach.
The Crafts don't pay. The Crafts don't pay. I
think they're gonna have to. Well, they paid Bill. I mean, Bill was the highest paid coach. People don't realize that he was.
If I'm Ben Johnson, I do not leave the Lions for that job. Brian Flores is interesting because indirectly,
why wouldn't Ben Johnson leave for any head coaching job? He's going to be.
He turned down Washington last year.
The what?
He turned down Washington last year. Remember that?
Yeah, but I can understand that because of that situation with the owners and everything and all of that stuff. I mean, the Patriots are in a quandary here, but it's not like that what it was. And I think if they come up, you're right about the money. You're right about the money. They come up with the money. They're going to have to because this is a disaster. It's just not working. Gerard Mayo, wonderful guy. I've met him, charity events with him. He's just not ready to handle this. He's probably a good linebackers coach, maybe a good defensive coordinator. He is not ready for a head coaching job. And this organization, unfortunately, was pushing him for 4 years. We've been hearing about how he was going to take over for Belichick and blah, blah, blah. It's the wrong decision. And Jonathan and Robert have to look themselves in the mirror and say, we fucked up. We need to restart this thing. Otherwise, our franchise quarterback here, I think, is going to potential to be not good, but great, is going to go like dust in the wind to Kansas.
Yeah, listen, but I'm going to give some good news. I agree with everything you just said. There are 4 high-profile positions you need to fill in the NFL. Starting quarterback, left tackle, pass rusher, and number 1 corner. The Patriots somehow have 2 of them. So they need to find they'll go get a receiver in free agency, probably T. Higgins. And then they need to find out. They probably need to sign.
Come here, but that's the problem. Assuming he wants to come here, and they got to have some guarantees. I don't trust Elliott Wolf. I mean, he's another guy that's got to go. Oh. I mean, the way things are going. I mean, he put together this team, and I know they've been banged up on the, but it's just a disaster. I'm so disgusted because I never thought this team would revert back to the bottom dwellers. I never thought that. I knew there'd be some tough years. There'd be 500, but we're talking Rod Russ nonsense now with a much better quarterback. We do have Drake May, humility, but anyway, You know, I mean, I never thought they would bottom out again. I thought there'd be some years where they'd be 500, maybe a couple of games under, and they rebuild a couple of years, and then they're back on, close to being back on top again. This is a joke, and it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassing. They were the worst coach team on the field on Sunday, by far, out of anybody in the NFL. Every single coach was better than Gerard Mayo in the NFL on Sunday. Everybody.
I think it's great because I'm getting the Tommy bill. So we need 20 years of losing. So I think it's great. I hope they stink forever. So, but no, and I mean they think they know everything. They didn't need Bill. They didn't need Tommy. Hey, great, congratulations. Let's see what they are without Bill Parcells, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. There's a reason why they stink. They think they know everything. Let them dig their own hole and get out of it.
Who wins more games next year, North Carolina or the Patriots? And
North
that's with 5 less games in North Carolina. 5 less games.
North Carolina win like at least 7 or 8 games.
I agree. I think they're going to win more.
Might win 6. I mean, we got to see what the Patriots do in the offseason.
Yeah.
I mean, they could trade for Jamar Chase. We don't know. I mean, they could, imagine if they traded Jamar Chase to the Patriots. He would chain himself to his house in Cincinnati.
But I mean, going from Joey Burrow to Drake May, I mean, Joey Burrow's probably going to be third in the MVP race this year.
Well, best friends, though, Pete. That's the other thing.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. That's going to be interesting. One step at a time, just trying to not humiliate ourselves at Buffalo this week, and they moved the game to 425. Did you hear?
Oh, God. I forgot about that. Oh,
and they flexed the game out to 425, which is good for me because I got friends over hosting, and so it's easier to host an afternoon game than a 1 o'clock game. But anyway, other than that,
I forgot they were going to Buffalo.
Yeah.
That's the thank you, sir. I'm going to have another game. Oh, my God. Is that going to be bad? Thank you, sir.
You would think.
Consecrate the bond of obedience.
You would think it is going to be absolutely terrible. And by the way, the
New England bowling pins. I mean, Patriots. Are they going to show them the video of the Lions game, or are they just going to skip that?
The Bills are only favored by 13.5, so it's not as bad as last week with Baltimore going to the Giants as 16.5-point favorites, and like I predicted, covered. They did cover. I didn't think the Giants would score. They got 2 measly touchdowns, but still covered. But the Bills are only favored by 13.5. I thought it might be more.
I mean,
we'll see.
That's going to be well. You got to see what the weather is too. What's the weather?
The weather is supposed to be chilly. I don't see snow. It's going to be. It looks 18 degrees. I think that at kickoff because it's at 4:25 and not 1 o'clock. Cold.
Oh, I forgot. That's another thing. They're punishing the Patriots for their ineptitude. They're going to make them freeze.
Well, this should be fine in cold weather. No excuse for that. Auto Racing Digest guy says, "Hey, Beef.
You and I have been up there. That place is freezing everywhere, all the time, anyways. But at night,
freezing in the summer.
Listen. Now that I think the Lions have been severely diminished, I'm rooting for the Bills to win the Super Bowl. Anybody but the Chiefs. I don't want to. I'm tired of them. And now that Mahomes is down, and they can't help him with the medicine because he's in regular season.
Yeah.
The vitamins they use to help him. See, I'm avoiding getting sued. So we'll see, but I want the Chiefs to lose.
Jay, man, I got to take a break here. I got to read a couple.
Brother, good to see you.
You're on tomorrow night. You're on Beef's World on tomorrow night at what, 6 o'clock?
Yep. And then are we going to do next week? Or are we off next week?
I'm going to do a short recap on Monday, and then we'll be off the rest of the week. So we'll come back on the January 2nd. That's
if you want me to come on Monday, let me know. I'll come on.
Yeah, I definitely. Let's plan on that. Let's plan on that like early on, like at 7:30. We'll do
this with me.
Yeah.
Do this with me. We'll send the Pete and Beef signal for Kathy. We'll get Kathy on the goalpost right here.
Okay.
Right on the middle. That's for Kathy. We'll get her on.
Sounds good.
Okay, buddy. Have a good holiday. Talk to you soon.
Have fun. Jay Plantley out in from Beef's World and up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Always a pleasure. All right, I got to read this text from my buddy Ralph in Massachusetts. Great poker player. We used to Hello, Pedro. It's your boy Ralph from up north. How's your poker game? Anyway, let me address that first. I'm mostly playing online because I just don't have getting up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't go play in a lot of tournaments outside of Bovada anymore. But anyway, that's actually pretty good. Anyway, I want to get your opinion of the 3 remaining moves that make the Red Sox the team to beat in 2025. Good Lord. Sign Bregman, Sasaki from Japan, and my huge under-the-radar idea move, sign Pivetta back as our closer. He's a bulldog, always strong when starting outings. He held a phenomenal K-to-walk ratio. Has been very durable. He always took the ball, 2-year deal around $20 million with an option. You should get a gun. Send it in, Jerome, as Bill Rafferty would say. Look, I agree with all that. I'd love to see that happen. Look, I think Crochet is a huge start for them. I think he's a Cy Young Award candidate immediately. And I have already predicted for him to be starting in the All-Star game for the Red Sox. He is that good. The other moves I like, I'd love to see him get everything you said. I'd love to see all that happen. Will it happen? I don't know. I still don't know how serious. Getting Chapman is good, but is Chapman really a closer? When talking to Sean McAdam yesterday about it, he's more suited to be a setup guy than a closer, but we'll see. But Ralph, great to hear from you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tell your friends. And yeah, I agree with all your moves. I'd love to see every one of those happen. I would not be disappointed in any of that. All right, quick break. When we come back, we'll close out the show with Patrick Gilroy. We'll talk some NBA stuff, not just Celtics, the NBA Cup finalists tonight. We'll see how excited Patrick is about that between Oklahoma City and Milwaukee and Vegas. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show here on a Tuesday on the Coastal Sports Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
What's up, Southwest Florida? Chicken and Beef Guy here. Fort Myers, we answered your call. We're pumped to announce the opening of our 2nd location. It's on 41 just north of the Edison Mall. And guys, nothing's changed here. The beef, the sausage, the breaded steak, our Maxwell Polish. Now serving you in 2 locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. And don't forget, if you're having a party, check out our catering menu.
Hey guys, when you're at the counter, don't call it gardenia. It's pronounced Chardonnay.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Ion Tampa Bay is the latest news, weather, and traffic for Pinellas, Pasco, Ellsboro, Hernando, and surrounding communities. Stay connected on X, Facebook, and their website, iontp.com. Ion Tampa Bay keeps you informed on breaking news as it happens. Southwest Florida's newest game in town. Sports Radio 102.9, the game powered by Ion Tampa Bay. We'll be right back.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him in the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home. Wow. Awesome. Where were you, Jill? Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Sorry, there we go. I had to press all these. Angel's not here for this final segment. So, like Pharrell, I'm happy. And I'm happy that Patrick Gilroy is in the house, a great NBA insider and a co-host of the famous podcast here, heard right here with Pat and Kat, which you hear right here on the Coastal Sports Network. So, good morning, Patrick. How are you? How's everything going?
Everything's going well, Pete. No complaints. Complaining gets you nowhere in life, right?
Yeah. Unless you're Aaron Rodgers.
You're playing. Are you the producer right now too? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I pushed like 4 different buttons over here on my end. Yeah.
Wow. So, multi-talented Pete Sheppard at it again.
Yeah, no one else could do it. No, nobody else could do it. No question about it. So how you been? It's been a couple of weeks to be able to talk with different schedule results. And you were excited about the NBA Cup final tonight in Vegas between the Milwaukee Bucks.
Woke up this morning and I said, I just counting down the minutes until the action tips off tonight for the NBA Cup. Let me say this about the Cup. I think we learned all we needed to learn when the Lakers got eliminated from Cup play, the defending Cup champions. LeBron came up with every excuse in the world, said it's not a big deal, it's not the NBA championship, and he sort of glossed over it. Now, last year, when they were popping champagne bottles after winning the NBA Cup, looking like idiots out there. It is what it is. Like it doesn't, in the moment, I guess it might mean something, especially to the younger players that are on shorter contracts because they get $500,000 for winning. But ultimately, Pete, it's a joke, and all it does is really screws up the NBA schedule.
It does.
I'm
Look at the Celtics. They moved the Celtics Bulls game right to Thursday.
Yeah. Yep. So the NBA schedule for the month-long cup play is in flux. You can't really plan because you don't know where your team is going to wind up being. And then you've got extended breaks in between games. It's just the whole rhythm of the season gets disrupted. And I'm not sure that it's worth it because if you look at the NBA ratings, I hate to say this, they're way down.
Way down.
And the cup games aren't getting the boost that the league thought that they would get. So if you're not getting the boost of viewership, what's the point?
Well, at least for this tonight, they get a lot of superstars. They get a lot of, even the Bucks haven't been great this year at all, but certainly OKC has been one of the best teams in the NBA after the Celtics and Cleveland. They're right there. I mean, favorite. But I want to get back to the Lakers for a second, and I hate doing this because I think the Lakers get way too much press and all that crap. I'm just wondering when J.J. Redick has a nervous breakdown. I mean, I know they won big last night, but I mean, it is just unbelievable between LeBron and AD and everything else. And we talked about this before the season even started. The cockiness, that Duke cockiness that he has he always thinks he's the smartest person in the room. They're going to struggle just to play in the postseason, just to make it in the play-in. Forget get the play-in. They'll be struggling to get in as one of the final teams. But is J.J. Redick going to end up in a padded room when this is all said and done? Because he still gets very snippy at these press conferences. Doesn't like constructive criticism at all.
No, he's not. For somebody who, is 7 years removed from his NBA career, has spent those 7 years in the media, whether it's through calling games on TV or his podcast. You think he would have a little more experience in how to deal with the media and what that back and forth is like, because it can certainly benefit you as a head coach to play nicely with the media. Look no further than Bill Belichick. When you're winning, you can be the biggest asshole in the world, but when you're losing, the media turns on you quickly. And I think JJ is learning that. And if he didn't understand that going into LA wasn't going to be easy, then I don't know if he's got the right agent, the right people talking to him. This LeBron thing, just leaving the team, I can't. Can you imagine?
Have you heard anything? Have you heard why?
I'm out for a while. No, there's no. He hasn't given a reason. I'm surprised we haven't heard, mental health or something like that. It's not an injury.
He was going to play 82 games. Remember? Maybe he threatened us with that.
Every year he says he's going to play all 82. And then he takes an extended vacation. And I hope it's nothing nefarious. There's been some links to the Diddy Jay-Z stuff. And I don't know if he's just trying to, keep his distance and let that stuff go away for a little while. And then he comes back. But I mean, there's famous clips out there, him saying there ain't no party like a Diddy party. There's videos of him at the Diddy parties. And maybe this is just a case of he didn't do anything wrong at those parties, but because he is linked to them, he just wants to get out of the public eye for a little while. That's the best I can come up with.
I think you're onto something, no question. Or maybe he's going to the Bahamas to get some of his secret money out for bail money. Maybe. Patrick Gilroy joining us, NBA insider, one of the best. And speaking of one of the best, the Celtics. And it's just such I can't wait every single night. I just can't wait to watch them. And you know what? They're the only team that can get away. Not that they get away with it, but it doesn't matter if for a night that Brown doesn't play or Tatum doesn't play or Horford doesn't play or Porzingis. They are so freaking unbelievable. It just doesn't matter, as Bill Murray said in Meatball. It just doesn't matter. Everybody can shoot threes. They all seem, there's this symmetry that goes on with everybody that's on the floor at the same time. Everybody seems to have that great frame of mind. I think Joe Mazzulla's done an amazing job. So one night, no Horford, one night, 2 nights you may not have Brown. You may not have Brown and Porzingis. It doesn't matter. It's next man up, and they still play the same way. They don't deviate from their game, and they're really a pleasure to watch. I mean, and you got to start thinking, is this the best? We always think the '86 team is the best of all time. Is this team going to rival that? And it's tough to compare eras. Don't get me wrong, KG. Don't jump down my throat. I get it. But man, this team, they got to be right up there with certainly the best team since 2008. or 2010. And you got to argue, you can make a case about this being the best team since '86.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can, talent-wise, the way that they play, the fluidity that they play with. The thing that's going to stop them is that '86 team had only lost one game at home all year. This team's already lost a couple at home.
Yeah.
And you get that with the inconsistencies with the roster sometimes, right? And you've got a team now where Porzingis went out with a heel the other night. I think he's going to play on Thursday. That's what he's telling the media anyways. Al Horford's at an advanced age. When he does play, he's been spectacular. So you're going to have games that you'll lose that talent-wise you shouldn't lose throughout the season. And that's why they don't have the best record in the league right now. It's they're trailing the Cavs by a game. But talent-wise, you can make the argument for sure because this team goes 9-10 deep. I mean, you've got Neemias Queta getting serious minutes on certain nights.
He's my new favorite player on the team. He's my new favorite player. I love when he's in the game. He just brings the energy. And he's a shot changer on defense.
Yeah, he absolutely is. But it's not a coincidence that the Celtics went from 24th in the league in defending the rim when Queta and Horford were manning the paint to number 1 defensively at the rim since the return of Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, you can't fake 7'3", Pete.
You can't fake it, but you add in Kristaps Porzingis and you add in Derek White and Jaylen Brown. That's 60% of your all defensive team right there.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
Seriously.
And then other guys don't get credit for it because they don't look like your prototypical defenders. Let me tell you something. Sam Hauser is one hell of a defender. Peyton Pritchard is one hell of a defender. They're never going to get an all-defensive team nod, but these guys know how to defend within the team concept. They know how to play team defense. They're never a step behind. They're never a step slow. And again, that's the beauty of this team. When you mix and match lineups and you take out your superstars and bring in your bench players, you don't see that usual drop-off in play and in execution.
I said Jaylen Brown. I meant to say, not that he's not a good defensive player. I meant to say Drew Holiday. But when you talk about Drew Holiday, Derek White and Porzingis, how can they not be considered part of the all defensive? Really, how can they not be? Drew Holiday and White are the 2 best defensive guards in the league. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, and Porzingis has got to be right there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And they've got the hardware to back it up. Those 2 guys do. They are the best defensive duo in the league. Derek White has maybe surpassed Drew Holiday offensively, but Drew's still putting up 13 points a game, in limited minutes. And they're doing that on purpose, by the way. They extended him. They want him to be here for the next few years. But you don't want this guy to blow a tire at 34 years old, right? Not in the regular season. So people in Boston are getting on Drew Holiday because he's not shooting the corner 3 as effectively as he was last year. It'll come. I promise you, he's been around too long. He's too good. It'll come. It's like that's the biggest worry we have on the Celtics. We're doing okay.
Are there people really on his case up there about Drew Holiday not making a lot of corner 3s?
Oh yeah, Mike Felger had a whole show on it the other day about maybe it's time to trade Drew and elevate Pritchard to that position.
That's why. Go back to Wisconsin. I mean, my God, it's so ridiculous. That is one of the dumbest things I've heard yet. That is just so asinine. That is so asinine. That's really and that's why people hate the media so much. When you have idiotic statements like that come out of your mouth, that makes 0 sense to anybody. They would be laughing at you in the Celtics organization if they heard that on the ram. Absolutely laughable. That's the best you can come up with.
Yeah, that's it. They're looking for something, right? Because things are going too well. And you know this as well as I do. In this landscape that we play in, sometimes it's when the teams are bad that the radio is at its best. So they're pulling and they're looking, but there's not much there to pull from.
Just enjoy it. I don't know why you have to go looking for negativity. Yeah, every team, even the Celtics, deserve a little bit of construction. I get it, but I mean, you're barking up the wrong tree. Focus your shit on the Patriots and that fucking mess over there.
Hey, speaking of that, is Mayo? Do you think Mayo's going to be gone?
I do.
Yeah, I hope so.
I did. If you're bored today, go back and listen to my show yesterday on Facebook and go scroll down to about 17 minutes in. 17 to the 22-minute mark, and watch me do a whole montage of all the coaches and players that should be gone. It's fantastic. I did a great job. You know, it's a
I
two
will.
unlimited. It's a
I'll
two
listen to
unlimited to get ready for this. I had a little thing. It kind of sounded like, if I can find it, it was like, I'll give you just one example of what I did, and I don't apologize for it. Oh, where is it? Okay, here it is. So here's one thing. Here's how I started it yesterday. First one to believe in the Patriots. Out of Illinois, number 59 for Darian Lowe, left tackle. And I just did that, for a bunch of players and coaches, and they all deserve to go. Every offensive line coach on that team deserved to be fired. And all these offensive linemen, how these people, especially guys like Lowe, have kept their jobs is a complete enigma to me. It's absolutely ridiculous. Jonathan Kraft needs to say something. It's disgusting what this team has become. Absolutely disgusting.
Are you worried at all that when they eventually part ways with these players and especially the coaching staff, that things have become such a clusterfuck in Foxborough that they won't be able to attract a premier head coach and attract the talent that they need to make this thing better?
Well, you got to pay. Like I've been talking about today, I would go after Ben Johnson, the offense coordinator for the Lions, and I would somehow, if I could, try to get Brian Flores back as a defensive coordinator, pay him whatever they want from the Minnesota Vikings. That's what I want. But yeah, attracting free agents. Drake May is a great player. I think a really good player who's going to be a great player. But it's just like, it's like Ayuk last year. Didn't want to come here. I don't blame him. Not that he was going to be the be-all, end-all, but this team doesn't have a number 1 wide receiver or number 2 wide receiver, and some you could argue number 3 wide receiver. They don't have it. So showing the commitment to a new head coach that knows what the hell they're doing. Mayo is not ready. Wonderful guy, all that stuff. He is nowhere near ready to be in this position. You can tell. And they've been pushing him for 4 years while Belichick was here that he was going to be the guy. Well, he's not the guy. And neither is Van Pelt. And Covington has got to be one of the worst defensive coordinators I can remember in a long time. That offensive line is abysmal despite being banged up. It is so undisciplined, and that's on coaching. And for Gerard Mayo not to have Drake May do those quarterback sneaks the other day was absolutely embarrassing. Threw Van Pelt under the bus no matter what he says. I don't blame him for that. We're doing 26 tosses to running backs starting 4 and 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage on 4th and inches for an offensive line that stinks. It makes no sense.
The one thing they've done right, Pete, is they drafted Drake May. But we've seen this.
And Gonzalez.
We've seen it across all these other sports, and look at Kristaps Porzingis. He got drafted by the New York Knicks, and at that time the Knicks were a cluster F, and he never lived up to his hype. He's now on his 3rd or 4th team, or his 4th team, and finally he's playing the way that the Knicks wanted him to play a decade ago. You don't want to put Drake May in that position. And I know Giselle said it about Tom 7 or 8 years ago, but he can't throw the ball and catch the ball too, and they need to do something about that.
Absolutely. All right, what else is going on? Anything else? Let's one last thing about the NBA. Anybody in the East or the West besides Udoka, who I think has done an amazing job with the Rockets since leaving the Celtics, but anybody in the East or the West that pops out to you, good or bad, that you're surprised at?
The only thing that has sort of gotten my attention in the last couple of weeks is after the 2-8 start that Milwaukee had. They've really turned it around. They're playing exceptionally well right now. Doc has somehow got that team to buy in. Despite the fact that, Chris Middleton came back, he hasn't been right. He's been in the lineup, out of the lineup, not playing heavy minutes. So that team is the only one that really jumps off the page, because when you look at the standings, you got a bunch of teams that are treading water between, 10-16 to 14-16. And you got the Celtics, the Cavs, and then everybody else. And that the Eastern Conference is a mess right now. You're going to have teams barely 500 making the top 6 seeds, top 8 seeds in the playoffs, and they're all going to be jumbled up.
Patrick, man, you're the man. So what's coming up with your podcast with Kat? I mean, your significant other, awesome stuff that you hear on this network as well. What's going on with that?
All right, so the next one will drop tomorrow. Angel will get it from us. We recorded it last night. We get into some of the stuff with the ex and how it's impossible to schedule things when she just refuses to live up to her responsibilities. So we talk about that, and we do tease that coming up in 2 weeks, the final show of the year, also the final show of season 2. Kat does a wonderful job saving us tens of thousands of dollars. We live really well, and we do it on the cheap. So she'll talk about how in one grocery bill from one grocery store for the past 12 months, she saved $3,700. We went on 4 vacations that didn't cost us a penny. And she's going to detail how to do that and the repeatable steps that other people can take to live the same sort of life without having to spend the money that people assume that life costs.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. All right, Patrick, we will absolutely talk soon. You going to the Celtics Bulls game on Thursday?
I can't wait. I'll be there. Yep.
All right, buddy. We'll talk soon. All the best. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes. Appreciate you.
All right, Pete. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right. Here he is, Patrick Gilroy, big NBA insider for us, joining me here on the Pete Sheppard Show. That's about going to do it for me. Let's see. What can we have here going? Let's see. How about that? We haven't heard this one in a while. A little old Ace of Base. I think this is their best song, by the way. Beautiful Life. I hope you are having a beautiful life as well. I am Pete Sheppard. Thanks, everybody, to Patrick Gilroy. Thanks to Jay Flannery. I'll be back tomorrow here at 7 a.m. Angel will be back as well. Billy Sparrows will be one of my guests at 8:30. Going to try to get the Big O, Glenn Ordway, on with me at 9:30, although he doesn't know it yet. I'm about to text him, although he's still sleeping. His butler doesn't get there until at least 10 o'clock Eastern time. And, he's in Arizona. We'll try to get Big O on. If not, we'll have some hockey and basketball guests and football guests as well. Lots going on in the world of sports as we approach the college football playoff going up on Friday. I am Pete. Have a great and safe rest of your Tuesday, buddy. I'm back tomorrow at 7 a.m. And don't forget, everybody, go to Scottish Terrier Rescue of the Southeast. Click on the links and donate if you can. We're going to have it up there until Christmas. Really appreciate it. So do Lisa and Carrie. They were on yesterday with me. And if you don't know what it's all about, go back and watch yesterday's show. Rick says, time to make the donuts. Oh, yeah. All right. I'll go French toast today. Back tomorrow at 7 a.m. See you, everybody.